Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Quarantine Theater Company reading. I am Curtis. I am the host of tonight's reading, and tonight we are reading awesome Christopher Nolan movie, and that is Inception. I am going to be the host. My name's Curtis. I'll also be playing the role of Dom. We have Lauren coming in later, playing in the role of Arthur. Meanwhile, some other cast members reading for that role until he comes in, and we also got Jessica coming in later, playing Ariadne. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right again, but we'll have another cast member read that role until she comes in. We have Logan as Mr. Saito. We got Eric as Eames. We got Anne as Maul. We got Travis as Fisher. We got Paul as Yusuf and Stephen Miles. We have Ryan as Peter Browning. And Jennifer is going to be our scene description. So, Jennifer, take us away. If you
Will do. Inception by Christopher Nolan. Fade in, dawn, crashing surf. The waves toss a bearded man onto wet sand. He lies there. A child's shout makes him lift his head to see a little blonde boy crouching back towards us, watching the tide eat a sandcastle. A little blonde girl joins the boy. The bearded man tries to call them, but they run off, faces unseen. He collapses. The barrel of a rifle rolls the bearded man onto his back. A Japanese security guard looks down at him, then calls up the beach to a colleague leaning against a jeep. Behind them is a cliff, and on top of that, a Japanese castle. Interior, elegant dining room Japanese castle later. The security guard waits as an attendant speaks to an elderly Japanese man sitting at the dining table, back to us.
He was delirious, but he asked for you by name, and show him.
He was carrying nothing but this.
He puts a handgun on the table. The elderly man keeps eating.
And this.
The security guard places a small pewter cone alongside the gun. The elderly man stops eating, picks up the cone.
Bring him here. And some food.
Interior same. Moments later, the elderly man watches the bearded man wolf down his food. He slides the handgun down the table towards him.
Are you here to kill me?
The bearded man glances up at him, then back to his food. The elderly Japanese man picks up the cone between thumb and forefinger.
I know what this is.
He spins it onto a table. It circles gracefully across the polished ebony, a spinning top.
Seen one before. Many, many years ago.
The elderly Japanese man stares at the top, mesmerized.
Belonged to a man I met in a half-remembered dream.
Move in on the gracefully spinning top.
A man possessed of some radical notions.
The elderly Japanese man stares, remembering.
What's the most resilient parasite?
Cut 2, interior, same elegant dining room night. Years earlier, the speaker, Cobb, is 35, handsome, tailored. A young Japanese man, Saito, eats as he listens.
A bacteria, a virus.
Cobb gestures at their feast with his wine glass.
An intestinal worm.
Saito's fork pauses midair. Cobb grins. A third man is at the table, Arthur. He jumps in to save the pitch.
What Mr. Cobb is trying to say is
an idea.
Saito looks at Cobb, curious.
Resilient, high contagious. Once an idea is taken hold in the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate. A person can cover it up, ignore it. It stays there.
But surely to forget.
Information, yes, but an idea, fully formed, understood, that sticks. And there's something.
For someone like you to steal.
Yes. In the dream state, conscious defenses are lowered and your thoughts become vulnerable to theft. It's called extraction.
But Mr. Saito, we could train your subconscious to defend itself from even the most skilled extractor.
How can you do that?
Because I am the most skilled attractor. I know how to search your mind and find your secrets. I know the tricks and I can teach them to your subconscious so that even when you're asleep, your guard is never down.
Cobb leans forward, holding Saito's gaze.
But if I'm going to help you, you have to be completely open to me. I need to know my way around your thoughts better than your wife, your analyst, anyone. If this is a dream and you've got a safe full of secrets, I need to know what's in that safe. For this to work, you have to let me in.
Saito gives us a flicker of a smile, rises. A bodyguard opens double doors, which give onto a lavish party.
Gentlemen, enjoy your evening as I consider your proposal.
They watch Saito leave. Arthur turns to Cobb, worried.
He knows.
Cobb motions silence. A tremor starts. They steady their glasses. Cobb glances at his watch. The second hand is frozen.
What's going on up there?
And we cut to filthy bathroom day. Feels like a different time. Cobb, asleep, sitting in a chair at the end of a steaming bath. The chair is up on a cabinet, the bottom of the legs level with the rim of the tub. A sweating man, 40s, watches over Cobb. This is Nash. A distant explosion rumbles through the room. Nash moves to the window, parts the curtains. Outside, a chaotic, developing world city. The street filled with rioters, smashing, burning. Nash checks Cobb's left wrist. Above his watch, tape holds two thin yellow tubes in place. Nash looks at Cobb's watch. The second hand crawls, unnaturally slowly. Nash follows the tubes to a silver briefcase at Arthur's feet. Arthur is asleep in an armchair. Tubes connect the briefcase to Arthur's wrist. Nash follows another set of tubes from the briefcase to where they pass, under the door, to the bedroom. Through the crack of the door, Nash sees Saito asleep on the bed, tubes running to his wrist. Boom! A closer explosion, and we cut to interior bullet train compartment day. Feels like a different time again. Nash, asleep, head rocking against the window as the train bumps over a rough piece of track. A Japanese man, Tadashi, watches Nash nervously. He checks Nash's wrists. Two yellow tubes connect Nash with three other sleeping men in the compartment, Cobb, Arthur, and Saito. Tadashi checks his watch. The second hand ticks in real time. Another train passes in the opposite direction with a mighty whoomp. Tadashi's eyes fly to Nash's sleeping face. Nash jerks with the movement of the train, and we cut to interior filthy bathroom continuous. Another explosion! Nash checks the sleeping Cobb, and we cut to exterior rooftop terraces, Japanese castle night. A low tremor rumbles through the castle. Cobb and Arthur steady themselves against the wooden rail. Several tiles and pieces of masonry fall. Below them, a black sea churns. Other guests wander the massive terraces.
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Guests wander the massive terraces.
Seattle knows. He's playing with us.
I can get it here. The information is in the safe. He looked right at it when I mentioned secrets.
Arthur nods and spots someone over Cobb's shoulder.
Wait, what's she doing here, Cobb?
Cobb turns to see a beautiful woman, elegantly dressed, staring out at the sea. This is Mal. Cobb watches her.
You just get to your room. I'll take care of the rest.
See that you do. We're here to work.
Arthur brushes past Mal, shaking his head. She nears Cobb, looks out at the drop. Wind whips her hair.
If I jumped, would you survive?
Would a clean die, perhaps, Mal? Why are you here?
She turns to look at him, amused.
I thought you might be missing me.
She smiles. He leans in, mesmerized.
I am. But I can't trust you anymore.
She stares up at him, inviting.
So what?
Interior bedroom suite, Japanese castle. Moments later, Mal sips champagne as she studies a painting by Francis Bacon.
Looks like Arthur's taste.
Cobb is looking down through the window at the guards patrolling the castle at ground level.
Actually, Mr. Saito is partial to post-war British painters.
He turns to Mal, donning a pair of black leather gloves.
Would you sit down?
Mal lowers herself gracefully into a leather wingback chair. Cobb approaches, pulls out a length of black rope, and kneels at Mal's feet. She looks down at him.
Tell me.
Cobb ties the rope around the chair legs.
Do the children miss me?
Cobb pauses. He lets his gloved fingers lightly touch Mal's ankle. He looks up at her.
Can't imagine.
Mal looks away, uncomfortable. Cobb gets to his feet, letting out the rope as he moves back to the window.
What are you doing?
Cobb tosses the rope out.
Getting some air.
He tugs on the rope, testing. The weight of the chair with Mal on it holds.
Stay seated. Please.
And with that, he jumps. Mal considers the open window. Exterior Japanese castle wall, continuous. Cobb rappels down the wall, darting past windows. He stops at a particular one, gets out a glass cutter. Suddenly, he starts dropping. Interior bedroom suite, Japanese castle continuous. The empty chair slides across the floor, wedges under the window. Exterior Japanese castle wall continuous. Cobb jolts to a stop, 15 feet lower. He looks up at the bedroom window, shakes his head, starts climbing back. Interior kitchen, Japanese castle. Moments later, Cobb drops silently from the window into the darkened kitchen. He pulls a pistol from his belt, screwing a silencer onto the barrel as he glides across the room. Interior hall, Japanese castle continuous. Cobb slips through the shadows toward a guard stationed at the head of a grand staircase. The guard hears something, turns, peers into the shadows. Cobb flashes out of the shadows, silence pistol up, aiming, headshot. The guard stops to drop, but Cobb is already there to catch him, sliding on his knees and lowering the guard silently onto the floor. Interior dining room, Japanese castle continuous. Cobb moves to a painting. With practiced hands, he removes it from the wall, revealing a safe. Cobb spins the dial, pulls it open, grabs an envelope from within, stuffs it into his waistband, where there is already an identical envelope. Lights come on. Cobb freezes.
Turn around.
Cobb turns at the far end of the room. Saito. Next to him is Mal. Gun in hand. She smiles at Cobb.
So sorry, my script jumped. Where are we?
Page 9.
Page 9. And you are smiling at Cobb.
The gun dome.
Cobb doesn't move. Mal motions outside. Two guards drag Arthur into the room. Mal puts the gun to his head.
Please.
Cobb slowly places his gun at the end of the long table, then slides it along the polished ebony. It comes to rest halfway down the length of the table.
Now the envelope, Mr. Cobb.
Cobb reaches into his waistband, removes one of the envelopes, slides it across the table, steps back, hands raised.
Did she tell you? Or have you known all along?
That you're here to steal from me? Or that we're actually sleeping?
Arthur gives Cobb an "I told you so" look.
I want to know who your employer is.
Mal cocks the gun at Arthur's temple.
No point threatening him in a dream.
That depends on what you're threatening. Killing him would only just wake him up. But pain? Pain is in the mind.
Mal lowers the gun and shoots Arthur in the leg. Arthur drops, screaming. Mal looks at Cobb, cold.
Judging by the decor, we're in your mind, aren't we, Arthur?
Cobb watches Arthur's pain. Mal aims at Arthur's other leg. Cobb springs for the table, skidding along its polished surface. He grabs his gun, shoots Arthur between the eyes. Arthur drops. The room starts to shudder in a massive earthquake. Cobb springs for the door. Arthur's eyes stare at the ceiling, dead. And we cut to interior filthy bathroom day. Arthur's eyes open as he wakes in the armchair. He grabs at the tubes at his wrist, yanking them free.
What are you doing? It's too soon.
Fluid spurts from the tubes as Arthur struggles with the silver case on the bathroom floor.
I know. We have to reconnect the loop before they wake up.
Arthur grabs the case and pushes through the door to the bedroom, following the tubes to where they meet Saito's wrist. Saito lies on the bed asleep. Saito stirs and we cut to interior Japanese castle. Corridor night. Cobb lurches towards the stairs as all around him the building bucks and heaves. Interior dining room, Japanese castle continuous. Saito and the guards panic. Mal walks calmly, Jesus, put those two words together, Jen, through the destruction, picks up the envelope and turns to Saito.
He was close, very close.
Exterior grand staircase, Japanese castle continuous. Cobb runs up the stairs, pulling out the second envelope. Interior dining room, Japanese castle continuous. Saito rips open the envelope, pulls out sheets of paper. He looks at Mal, panicked. He turns to the guards.
Stop him!
Mal, confused, looks at the sheets of paper. They are blank. Mal smiles, amused. Interior grand staircase, Japanese castle continuous. As Cobb runs up the stairs, he reads the typewritten sheets from his envelope, and we cut to interior dilapidated hotel room day. Arthur opens the silver case, the complex mechanism of tubes, syringes, dosage controllers. Arthur's hands fly across the machine's controls as he glances at Saito's stirring face.
I'm not going to make it. Wait, Cobb!
Interior filthy bathroom continuous. Nash turns to Cobb, raises his hand, and smacks him across the face. And we cut to interior grand staircase, Japanese castle night. Cobb is smashed sideways off his feet. Interior dining room, Japanese castle night. The ceiling cracks above Saito. He looks up as a ton of stone floods down, crushing him, and we cut to interior dilapidated hotel room day. Saito's eyes flicker open. Awake! Interior filthy bathroom, continuous. Nash smacks Cobb again.
You won't wait.
Interior dilapidated hotel room, continuous. Arthur, crouched by Saito, connects the second tube.
Dunk him.
A click. Arthur looks up to find Saito with a gun to his head and a finger to his lips, gesturing silence. Interior, filthy bathroom, continuous. Nash puts his hand on Cobb's forehead and pushes him backwards as Cobb starts to fall backwards in the chair. We are in slow motion, and we cut to interior grand staircase, Japanese castle night. Cobb, full speed, picks himself up, scrambling to read the last sheet of paper. He stares at it, puzzled. Bullets hit around him as the guards race up the stairs, and we cut to interior filthy bathroom day. Cobb is in slow motion, hits the water, head thrashing as he goes under, and we cut to interior grand staircase, Japanese castle night. Cobb glances up from the paper as water explodes in through all the windows, flooding the entire hall. Cobb is swamped by water, spun in all directions at once. He pulls deeper or for the surface. We can't tell. He breaks the surface, gasping for air in the bathtub in the interior filthy bathroom day. Cobb's awake, gulping air, getting his bearings. Saito smashes into the room, knocking Nash down. Cobb launches himself out of the tub, flying dripping wet across the room to slam Saito against the door. The gun drops. Cobb's fist connects with Saito's jaw, and the struggle is over. Interior dilapidated hotel room moments later. Cobb, wet but composed, sits, turning Saito's gun in his hand. Nash holds Saito's arms behind him. Outside, the sounds of rioting grow louder.
You came prepared.
I bring the gun because not even my head of security knows this apartment. How did you find it?
Arthur, at the window, looks out at the worsening violence.
Hard for a man in your position to keep a love nest totally secret, particularly when there's a married woman involved.
She would never...
And yet, here we are.
Saito is silent.
What a dilemma.
You got what you came for.
Not quite. The key piece of information wasn't there, was it, Mr. Saito?
Arthur looks over at Cobb, worried. Arthur? Arthur looks over at Cobb, super worried. Yeah, there we go. Cut to. I'm sorry, I stepped on your line, dude. Interior bullet train compartment day. Tadashi slips a pair of headphones over Nash's ears, then pulls out an MP3 player, and we cut to interior dilapidated hotel room day. Saito's eyes are on the floor.
You held something back because you knew what we were up to.
Cobb uses the barrel of the gun to raise Saito's chin.
So why let us in at all?
Saito smiles, defiant. Violent noises echo up the stairway.
An audition.
Audition for what?
Doesn't matter, you failed.
I extracted all the information you had in there.
But your deception was readily apparent.
And we cut to interior bullet train compartment day. Tadashi opens the silver briefcase, revealing the complex mechanism of syringes and controllers. 4 controllers display countdowns. Tadashi waits for the first countdown to hit 30, then hits play on the MP3 player. He watches Nash's sleeping face as he raises the volume through Nash's headphones. The opening bars of Edith Piaf's Non Je ne regrette rien. I don't know. Anyway, and we cut to interior dilapidated hotel room day. I don't take French, sorry. In the distant background, strange, massive, low-end musical starts, sounding like distant horns.
So leave me and go.
You know the corporation who hired us won't accept failure. We won't last 2 days.
The distant, slowed-down music is becoming louder, as are the shouts coming up the stairs. Arthur looks at his watch. Its slow second ticking marks time with the massive music.
Come on, Cobb.
So now I have to do this the old-fashioned way.
Cobb grabs Saito and puts his head to the floor, gun pressed into his cheek. Saito looks into Cobb's eyes, sees he will pull the trigger. Saito blinks, looks away in shame when he notices something, and starts laughing.
I always hated this carpet.
Cobb's eyes flick to the carpet and back.
It's stained and frayed in such distinctive ways.
Cobb looks up at Nash, who shrugs, at a loss.
It's very definitely made of wool. Right now, I'm laying on polyester.
Cobb glares at Nash, and we cut to interior bullet train compartment day. Tadashi watches the first of the countdowns hit 0. He looks up at Arthur, stirring, and we cut to interior dilapidated hotel room day. Saito turns from the carpet to look up at Cobb.
Which means I'm not lying on my carpet in my apartment. You've lived up to your reputation, Mr. Cobb. I'm still dreaming.
Cobb looks over to Arthur, but Arthur has vanished, and we cut to interior bullet train compartment day. Arthur's eyes flicker open. Awake! He rips at his tubes.
Gotta go.
Not good.
Arthur checks the remaining 3 countdowns, and we cut to interior dilapidated hotel room day. Saito gets to his feet, looking admiringly at Cobb.
A dream within a dream. I'm impressed.
Cobb lowers the gun, defeated. Glances at his watch. The music reverberates, the rioters bang on the door, and we cut to interior bullet train compartment day. Arthur retracts the tubes into the case as he watches the next countdown hit 0, and we cut to interior dilapidated hotel room day. Another bang on the door. Saito, confident now, approaches Cobb. Nash is behind Saito.
But in my dream, we really ought to be playing by my rules.
Yes, but you see, Mr. Saito.
Saito turns to Nash.
We're not in your dream.
Saito turns back to Cobb, but Cobb has vanished.
We're in mine.
Saito spins back to Nash. The door smashes off its hinges as rioters pour into the room, swarming over Nash, but Nash is gone. The music dies. Saito and the rioters stand there in the silence, the light dwindling, and we cut to interior bullet train compartment day. Nash's eyes open, awake.
Asshole.
Nash blinks. Arthur is in his face, furious.
How could you get the carpet wrong?
It wasn't my fault.
You're the architect.
I didn't know he was gonna rub his damn cheek on it.
Cobb pulls Arthur away from Nash.
Let's go.
And you, what the hell was all that?
I had it under control.
I hate to see out of control.
There's no time for this. I'm getting off at Kyoto.
Why? He's not going to search every compartment.
I can't stand trains.
Arthur moves to the briefcase, turns a dial.
I can keep him under for 1 minute.
Arthur hits a button, a plunger depresses. Cobb rips the tape off Saito's wrist, rolls up his tubes. Arthur slams the silver case shut. Tadashi pulls open the door.
Every man for himself.
Arthur and Nash exit, heading in different directions down the corridor. Cobb hands Tadashi a thick roll of cash, looks at Saito, who stirs. Cobb moves off. Exterior Japanese countryside continuous. The bullet train speeds through the lush landscape. Interior bullet train compartment continuous. Saito wakes gently. Looks around the compartment, empty. But for Tadashi, reading a comic. Saito looks down at his wrist. Sees a small mark. Rubs it. Smiles. Exterior Tokyo dusk. Moving over the vast city towards a high-rise. A helicopter thumps into frame, heading for a pad on the roof. Interior apartment Tokyo continuous. Cobb sits, waiting, checks his watch, restless. He pulls a handgun, checks it is loaded, places it on top of the table in front of him, pulls out a pewter spinning top, spins it on the table. He intently studies the top spin. As he stares, the sound of a freight train builds and builds. The top wobbles, tips onto its side. The sound of this train stops. The phone rings. Cobb grabs it.
Hi, Daddy. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good.
Okay, I guess.
Okay, I guess.
Cobb closes his eyes, trying to picture his children. Insert cut. Cobb's memory. A little blonde boy, 3, back towards us, crouches in the garden, looks at something in the grass.
Who's just okay? Is that James?
Yeah. When are you coming home?
I can't. Not for a while.
Insert cut. A little blonde girl, 5, also face unseen, joins James, crouching beside him.
Why?
Well, James, like I told you, I'm away because I'm working.
Grandma says you're never coming back.
Cobb pauses, takes a breath. Insert cut. James and Philippa, faces unseen, lift their heads from the grass, responding to someone's call. They run away from us across the garden.
Philippa, can you ask Grandma to pick up the phone?
She's shaking her head.
Cobb tenses, as if about to smash the phone.
Well,
Daddy?
we'll just have to hope Grandma's wrong about that, won't we?
Daddy?
Yes?
Is Mommy with you?
Cobb looks like he just got punched. Insert cut. Cobb's memory. Moll, wind blowing her hair, smiles calmly.
No. We talked about this, James. Mommy's gone.
Where?
Time to go, kids. Say bye-bye.
I'll give some presents to Grandpa, okay? Just be good.
Cobb stares at the dead phone, then downs his drink. A knock at the door. Cobb grabs the top, the gun, moves to the door, cracks it. It's Arthur.
Our ride's on the roof.
Cobb nods, moves to pick up his bag. Arthur watches.
Cobb, are you okay?
Cobb looks up.
Yeah, why?
Down in the dream, Mal showing up like that.
Yeah. I'm sorry about your leg.
It's getting worse, isn't it?
One apology's all you're getting, Arthur. Now where's Nash?
Hasn't shown. You want to wait?
We were supposed to deliver Saito's expansion plans to Cabal Engineering 2 hours ago. By now they know we failed. Time to despair.
Interior corridor continuous. Cobb and Arthur head towards the elevator.
Where will you go?
Buenos Aires. I can lie low there. And you snap on a job when things quiet down. You?
Stateside.
Of course. Send my regards.
Arthur looks at Cobb, nods, sympathetic. Exterior rooftop helipad, night. The helicopter sits, rotors spinning. As Cobb and Arthur reach the door, it slides open. Cobb steps up into the leather-padded interior. He freezes. Interior helicopter on pad continuous. Nash, beat and bloody, sits on the far side, slumped against the wine. Window, maybe? Beside him, Saito. He nods politely at Cobb.
He sold you out. Thought to come to me and bargain for his life.
And Saito's bodyguard offers Cobb a gun.
So I can offer you the satisfaction.
That's not how I deal with things.
Would you work with him again?
And Cobb shakes his head. Saito's bodyguards pull Nash from the chopper. Saito motions Cobb and Arthur to sit. The chopper rises. Cobb watches Nash dragged across the pad.
What will you do to him?
Nothing. But I can't speak for your friends from Coble Engineering.
Saito looks out at the city slipping by.
What do you want from us?
Inception.
He said it! Arthur raises his eyebrows. Cobb is poker-faced.
Is it possible?
Of course not.
You can steal an idea from someone's mind. Why can't you plant one there instead?
Okay, here's planting an idea. I say to you, don't think about the elephants. What are you thinking about?
Elephants.
Right. But it's not your idea because you know I gave it to you.
You could plant it subconsciously.
The subject's mind could always trace the genesis of the idea. True inspiration is impossible to fake.
No, it isn't.
Can you do it?
I won't do it.
In exchange, I'll give you the information you were paid to steal.
Are you giving me a choice? Because I can find my own way to square things with Cabal.
Then you do have a choice.
And I choose to leave.
I was muted. I apologize. Exterior airfield. Moments later, the helicopter sets down next to a private jet. Interior helicopter continuous. Saito indicates the plane.
Tell the crew where you want to go. They'll file the plan en route.
Cobb and Arthur look at each other, then move for the door.
Mr. Cobb, there is one other thing I could offer you. How would you like to go home? To America. To your children.
Cobb turns back to Saito.
You can't fix that. Nobody could.
Just like Inception.
Cobb considers this. Arthur touches his arm.
Come on.
How complex is the idea?
Simple enough.
No idea is simple when you have to plant it in someone else's mind.
My main competitor is an old man in poor health. His son will soon inherit control of the corporation. I need him to decide to break up his father's empire against his own self-interest.
Cobb, we should walk away from this.
If I were to do it, if I could do it, how do I know you could deliver?
You don't. But I can. So do you want to take a leap of faith or become an old man filled with regret, waiting to die alone?
Cobb looks at Saito, barely nods.
Assemble your team, Mr. Cobb. And choose your people more wisely.
Interior private jet later. Cobb reclines his seat. Arthur picks at a salad, angry.
I know you want to go home,
No, you don't.
but this can't be done.
It can. You just have to go deep enough.
You don't know that.
I've done it before.
Arthur is taken aback. Cobb turns to the window.
Did it work?
Yes.
Who did you do it to?
Cobb looks at Arthur. Closed. Arthur shrugs.
So why are we headed to Paris?
We're going to need a new architect.
Interior Great Hall. Fantastic. More French. École d'Architecture. Yay. We pretended to get through that morning. Cobb, carrying a shopping bag, looks into a lecture hall. No students, just a rumpled professor hunched over paperwork. Interior lecture hall continuous.
You never did like your office.
Professor Miles looks up, squinting. Recognizes Cobb. Professor? Oh, wait. That's me still.
Hey.
Professor Miles looks up, squinting. Sorry, recognizes Cobb.
No space to think in that broom cupboard.
And Cobb steps down past the empty wooden rows.
Is it safe for... Oh,
I think they'd find a way to make it work in your case.
Cobb hands Miles the shopping bag.
can you take these back for the kids?
I'll take more than the occasional stuffed animal to convince those children they still have a father.
I know. I thought you could talk to Marie about going out on vacation. Somewhere I can meet.
Why would she listen to me?
You were married for 8 years.
She blames me as much as you.
Doesn't she understand my kids need me?
Yes. She does. We all do. Go back and face the music, Don. Explain what Mal did.
Be realistic, Stephen. They never understand. They lock me up and broke the key. Or worse.
Think what you're doing now is helping your case?
Lawyers don't pay for themselves. This is what I have. This is what you taught me.
I never taught you to be a thief.
No, you taught me to navigate other people's minds. After what happened with Mal, there weren't a lot of legitimate ways for me to use that skill.
Miles looks at Cobb.
Why did you come here, Don?
Cobb shifts slightly.
I found a way home. A job for powerful people. If I pull it off, I can get back to my family. But I need help.
Miles realizes something.
My God, you're here to corrupt one of my brightest and best.
If you have someone good enough, you have to let them decide for themselves. You know what I'm offering.
Money?
No, not just money. The chance to build cathedrals, entire cities, things that have never existed, things that couldn't exist in the real world.
Everybody dreams, Cobb. Architects are supposed to make those dreams real.
That's not what he used to say. He told me that in the real world I'd be building attic conversions and gas stations. He said that if I mastered the dream sharing, I'd have a whole new way of creating and showing people my creations. He told me what free.
Miles looks at Cobb, sad.
I'm sorry. I was wrong.
No, you weren't. Your vision was a vision of pure creativity. It's where we took it that was wrong.
And now you want me to let someone else follow you into this fantasy.
They won't actually come on the job. They'll just design the levels and teach them to dreamers.
Design them yourself.
Mal won't let me.
Miles looks at Cobb, appalled.
Come back to reality, Don. Please.
You want to know what's real? Your grandchildren waiting for your dad to come back. This job, this last job, is how I get there.
Miles looks down, fiddles with his papers.
Couldn't be standing here if there were any other way I could get home. But I need an architect who's as good as I was.
Miles looks Cobb in the eye, decides.
I've got someone better.
Interior corridor later, Miles and Cobb stand by as students file out of a lecture.
Ariadne is how you say it.
A young woman carrying books turns. This is Ariadne.
I'd like you to meet Mr. Cobb.
She sizes him up. Okay, now I can't say normal words. With quick eyes, offers her hand.
Pleased to meet you.
If you have a few moments, Mr. Cobb has a job offer to discuss with you.
A work placement?
Not exactly.
Exterior rooftop, École d'Architecture. Moments later, Ariadne leans against a parapet, overlooking Paris. She unwraps a sandwich, watching Cobb pull out a pad of graph paper and a pen. He offers them. She bites her sandwich.
A test.
Are you going to tell me anything?
Before I describe the job, I have to know you can do it.
Why?
It's not, strictly speaking, legal.
Ariadne raises her eyebrows.
You have 2 minutes to draw a maze. That takes me 1 minute to solve.
Ariadne takes a pad and pen. Cobb looks at his watch.
Go.
She starts drawing lines on the grid, constructing a maze.
Stop.
Ariadne hands the pad and pen to Cobb. He glances at the pad, then, looking her in the eye, traces the solution. She is taken aback. Cobb rips off the sheet, hands the pad back.
Again.
She traces straight lines, concentrating.
Stop.
She hands Cobb the pad, a touch pleased. Cobb solves the puzzle instantly. As before, her smile falls.
You'll have to.
She grabs the pad, frustrated, but this time she flips it over and starts drawing on the blank cardboard of the back. Cobb watches, surprised. He smiles as she sees that she's drawing circles, creating a maze based on concentric rings. Ariadne hands back the pad, defiant. Cobb takes the pen, starts the maze. This time, he gets stuck. Nods.
More like it.
Exterior narrow street, Paris, day. Arthur stops at a warehouse door, consults his piece of paper. Interior workshop, continuous. A large, dusty warehouse. The sliding door cracks open. Arthur enters, looks around, approvingly. Interior, same later. Arthur drags lawn chairs into the middle of the room. He erects a table, lays out several silver cases, unpacking them, laying out lines of tubing, mechanisms. Exterior Parisian cafe, day. Cobb and Ariadne sit at an outdoor table.
They say we only use a fraction of the true potential of our brains, but they're talking about when we're awake. While we dream, the mind performs wonders.
Such as?
How do you imagine the building? You consciously create each aspect, puzzling over it in stages. But sometimes, when your imagination flies...
I'm discovering it.
Exactly. Genuine inspiration.
Cobb leans forwards and draws on the paper tablecloth.
In a dream, your mind continuously does that.
Cobb has drawn a circle made of 2 arrows.
It creates and perceives a world simultaneously so well that you don't feel your brain doing the creating. That's why we can short-circuit the process.
How?
By taking over the creating part.
Cobb draws a straight line between the 2 arrows.
This is where you come. You build the world of the dream. We take the subject into that dream and let him fill it with his subconscious.
But are you trying to fool him that the dream is actually real life?
While we're in there, we don't want him to realize he's dreaming.
How could I ever get enough details to convince him that it's real?
Our dreams real while we're in them. It's only when we wake up we realize things were strange.
Ariadne gestures around them.
But all the textures of real life, the stone, the fabric, cars, people, your mind can't create all this.
It does. Every time you dream, let me ask you a question. You never remember the beginning of your dreams, do you? You just turn up in the middle of what's going on.
I guess.
So, how did we end up at this restaurant?
Ariadne trails off, confused.
How did we get here? Where are we?
Ariadne thinks, unable to remember. A faint rumble begins.
Oh my god. Are we dreaming?
Cobb nods. The rumble is building.
Stay calm. We're actually asleep in the workshop. This is your first lesson in shared dreaming. Remember?
Ariadne looks around, mind reeling. Cobb braces. The restaurant violently fragments, exploding and imploding, particles of furniture, walls, people flying around. Ariadne wonders at the mayhem whirling around them. Cobb shields his head against the debris. She sees him.
If it's just a dream, why are you covering your...
Ariadne is wiped from her seat by a massive blast, and we cut to interior workshop day as Ariadne jolts awake.
Because it never is just a dream.
Ariadne turns to Cobb's voice. They are both sitting in lawn chairs. Arthur watches over them.
And a face full of glass hurts like hell, doesn't it? While we're in it, it's real.
That's why the military developed dream sharing, a training program where soldiers could strangle, stab, and shoot each other, then wake up.
How did architects get involved?
Someone had to design the dreams. Let's go for another 5 minutes.
We were only asleep for 5 minutes? We talked for an hour at least.
When you dream, your mind functions more quickly, so time seems to pass more slowly.
5 minutes in the real world gives you an hour in the dream.
Let's see how much trouble you can cause.
And we cut to exterior St. Parisian street day. Ariadne walks down the crowded street with Cobb. Cobb looks around at the street, the cafe, approving.
It's good. We got the cafe, the layout. We got the bookshop, but pretty much everything else is here.
Ariadne looks at the passersby.
Who are the people?
The projections of my subconscious.
Yours?
Sure, you are the dreamer. I am the subject. My subconscious populates your world. That's one way to get at a subject's thought. His mind creates the people, so he can literally talk to the subconscious.
How else do you do it?
Architecture. Build a bank vault for a jail, something secure, and the subject's mind will fill it with information he's trying to protect.
Then you break in and steal it.
Exactly.
Ariadne wonders at the detail of the street.
I love the concrete sense of things. Real weight, you know? I thought a dream space would be all about the visual, but it's the feel of things. Question is, what happens as you start to mess with physics?
She concentrates on the street. The street starts to bend in half, the buildings on either side folding in until they form the inside of a cube of the city. Gravity functioning independently on each plane. Ariadne looks up or down at the people on the opposite city surface. Cobb watches her excitement.
It's something, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
As they walk, Ariadne notices more and more of the projections staring at her.
Why are they looking at me?
Because you're changing things. My subconscious feels that someone else is creating the world. The more you change things, the quicker the projections converge on you.
Converge?
They feel the foreign nature of dreamer and attack like white blood cells fighting an infection.
They're going to attack us?
Just you, actually.
They walk along the street to where it joins the next gravitational plane. They step up onto the different plane and walk down the street towards a river. As Ariadne approaches, steps emerge from the flagstone and she leads Cobb up onto a small jetty. As she concentrates, pillars emerge and a bridge starts to telescope out from the jetty. They step onto it as it grows. Cobb is impressed.
It's beautiful, but if you keep on changing things...
People crossing the bridge stare at Ariadne. Several of them bump her shoulder as they pass.
Mind telling your subconscious to take it easy?
That's why it's called subconscious. I don't control it.
The bridge now spans the Seine. Cobb marvels at it.
Arched stone, iron pillars, it's...
Cobb pauses, thinking, remembering, insert cut. Maul, hair blowing, turns to Cobb, smiling, laughing. He smiles back. They are on the same bridge.
I know this bridge. This place is real. You didn't imagine it. You remembered it.
Yeah, I cross it every day on my way to the college.
Never recreate places from your memory. Always imagine new places.
You have to draw from what you know.
Use pieces, a street lamp, phone booths, a type of brick, not whole areas.
Several people around them echo Cobb's attitude.
Why not?
Because building dreams out of your own memories is the surest way to lose your grip on what's real and what's a dream.
Did that happen to you?
Cobb says nothing. He stands there staring at Ariadne. People around her stop and look at her, hostile.
Look, this isn't about me.
Cobb reaches for Ariadne's arm, turns her to him.
Is that why you need me to build your dreams?
A passerby grabs Ariadne's shoulder.
Leave her alone.
More of the crowd join in, pulling at Ariadne, holding her arms open. Cobb pulls people off. The crowd pushes him away. Cobb sees someone walking purposefully through the crowd towards the helpless Ariadne. It is Maul. She approaches with even strides. Ariadne stares at her, uneasy.
Wake me up, Cobb.
As Maul walks, she pulls out a large knife.
Maul, no!
Wake me up!
Ariadne screams as Maul lunges at her with the knife, and we cut to interior workshop day. Ariadne wakes, breathing hard. Arthur moves to her.
It's okay.
Why couldn't I wake up?
Well, the only way to wake up from inside the dream is to die.
Cobb in the lawn chair opposite pulls his tubes out.
Shanita Totem.
What?
Some kind of personal icon, a small object that you could always have with you and no one else will know.
Cobb gets to his feet. Ariadne stares at him, furious. He heads to the bathroom.
That's some subconscious you got there, Cobb. She's a real charmer.
Sounds like you met Mrs. Cobb.
She's his wife?
Arthur nods, pulling off Ariadne's tubes.
So a totem. You'll need something small, potentially heavy.
Interior bathroom workshop continuous. Cobb takes out his pewter spinning top, spins it on the marble counter. Interior workshop continuous. Ariadne looks at Arthur, puzzled.
Like a coin?
Too common. You need something like that has weight or movement that only you know.
Interior workshop continuous. Cobb studies the spin of the top as it decays, becoming more and more eccentric. Interior workshop continuous.
What's yours?
Arthur holds out a die.
Loaded die.
Ariadne reaches for it. Arthur snatches it away.
Can't let you handle it. That's the point. No one else can know the weight or balance of it.
Why?
So when you examine your totem.
Interior bathroom workshop continuous. Cobb's spinning top wobbles over.
You know beyond a doubt that you're not in someone else's dream.
Cobb grabs it like a drowning man reaching for a lifeline. Interior workshop continuous. Ariadne thinks this is over.
That's not an issue for me.
Why not?
Arthur, maybe you can't see what's going on. Maybe you don't want to, but Cobb's got problems he's trying to bury down there. I'm not going to open my mind to someone like that.
Ariadne gets to her feet, walks away.
She'll be back.
Arthur turns. Cobb is standing in the bathroom doorway.
I've never seen anyone pick it up so fast. And one reality won't be enough for her now. When she comes back, get her building mazes.
Where will you be?
I've got to talk to Eames.
Eames? But he's in Mombasa, Cabal's backyard.
Necessary risk.
There are plenty of other thieves.
We don't just need a thief. We need a forger.
Interior gambling den, Mombasa, day. Crowded, bustling, smoke-filled. A Westerner, 40s, shabby suit is squeezed in at a dice game. This is Ames. He fiddles with his last 2 chips.
Rub them against each other all you like. You're not going free.
Eames looks up to see Cobb.
You never know.
Eames tosses down his last chips. The dice are rolled.
Drink?
Ames loses.
You're buying.
Cobb follows Ames. Ames mysteriously produces 2 stacks of chips and puts them down in front of the cashier. Cobb pulls one off the top, squints at the embossed name.
Your spelling hasn't improved.
Ames grabs the chip, hands it to the cashier.
It's off.
How's your handwriting?
Ames takes his money, smiles at Cobb.
Versatile.
Interior street, Mombasa, continuous. Ames leads Cobb down the quiet street.
Word is, you're not welcome in these parts.
Yeah?
It's a price in your head from Cabal Engineering. Pretty big one, actually.
You won't sell me out.
Ames looks at Cobb, offended.
Of course I would.
Not when you hear what I'm selling.
Exterior balcony of a coffee house later. A ramshackle balcony overlooking a bustling street. Ames pours.
Inception.
Ames' glass stops halfway to his mouth.
Don't bother telling me it's possible.
It's perfectly possible. Just bloody difficult.
That's what I keep saying to Arthur.
Arthur, you're so working for that stick in the mud.
He's a good point, man.
The best. There's no imagination. If you're going to perform Inception, you need imagination.
You've done it before.
Yes. No. Tried it. Got the idea in place, but didn't take.
You didn't plan it deep enough?
Not just about depth. You need the simplest version of the idea, the one that will grow naturally in the subject's mind. Subtle art.
That's why I'm here.
What's the idea you need to plant?
He wanted the heir to a major corporation to break up his father's empire.
See, they've got various political motivations, anti-monopolistic sentiment and so forth. But all that stuff's at the mercy of the subject's prejudice. You've got to go to the basic.
Which is?
The relationship with the father. You're the chemist.
Cobb shakes his head.
There's a man, Yusuf Pia, who formulates his own versions of the compounds.
Let's go see him.
Once you've lost your tail, like the bar blue tie, came in about 2 minutes after we did.
Cabal engineering.
Pretty much own Mombasa.
Cobb glances over the balcony.
Run interference. Meet downstairs in half an hour.
Back here?
Last place you'd expect.
Ames downs his drink, rises, walks over to the businessman.
Freddie!
The businessman looks up, awkward.
Freddie Simmons, is it you?
Cobb nonchalantly slips over the balcony, dropping hard into the midst of the crowd on the streets below.
Oh, no, it isn't.
Exterior street Mombasa continuous. Cobb stands up, pushes into the crowd, faces peer at him. He moves, trying to blend, turns. A second businessman is there.
Yes?
We need to...
Cobb headbutts the second businessman, pushes past him. The first businessman races out of the bar, sees Cobb's wake, dives after him. Cobb races headlong through the tight passageways, weaving through door or knocking into the locals. He steps into a dark, crowded cafe, scanning the tables. The first businessman enters, spots him. An African man gets in Cobb's face, jabbering at him in Swahili. Cobb considers his options. The first businessman draws a gun. Cobb bolts, steps up onto a table and out an open window. Scrambling into the alley outside, Cobbs looks left, right, cuts left into a narrow, crowded alley. The alley narrows to a dead end. Faces in the crowd start to watch Cobb. People start to surround him. Cobb looks back the way he came. Two businessmen are there, guns drawn. Cobb sees a small gap between the buildings at the narrow end. He throws himself into it, gets stuck halfway. The crowd bears down, grabbing for him as Cobb struggles to squeeze himself through the gap. Cobb's moving inches as his pursuers gain yards, and the crowd is upon him. He bursts free, tumbling onto the next street, rolling out of sight. Cobb jumps to his feet in a market square. Two more businessmen move towards him. Cobb bolts, but a car skids up, blocks his path. The door opens. Saito is in the back.
Here for a lift, Mr. Cobb.
What brings you to Mombasa, Mr. Saito?
I have to protect my investment.
Exterior coffee house. Moments later, Ames stands on the pavement. The car pulls up. Cobb beckons from the rear window. Ames looks at Saito. Back to Cobb.
Is your idea of losing a tail?
Different tale.
Interior workshop day. Arthur sits at the table working on a mechanism. A small cough prompts him to look up. Ariadne is there.
He said you'd be back.
I tried not to come.
But there's nothing else quite like it.
Paper, no pens, nothing between you and raw, direct creation.
Arthur picks up his mechanism.
We take a look at the paradoxal architecture.
Ariadne nods, takes off her coat, and we cut to interior Penrose steps later. Arthur leads Ariadne down some busy steps in a large glass and steel atrium in an office complex.
You're going to have to master a few tricks if you're going to build 3 complete dream levels.
A secretary drops some papers as they pass.
What sort of tricks?
They take a tight turn and continue down the next flight.
See, in a dream, you can cheat architecture into impossible shapes. And that lets you create closed loops, like the Penrose steps, the infinite staircase.
Ariadne freezes. They are in the exact spot they started descending from, next to the secretary grabbing her papers. Ariadne puzzles at the impossible construction of the stairs.
See?
Arthur stops her gently. They are on the highest step with a large drop to the next step. Arthur gestures at the drop.
Paradox. Closed loop like this helps you disguise the boundaries of the dream you've created.
How big do the levels have to be?
Anything from the floor of a building to an entire city. But it has to be complicated enough for us to hide from projections.
A maze.
And the better the maze.
The longer we have before the projections catch us.
Ariadne looks around, sees people looking at Arthur.
My subconscious seems polite enough.
You wait. It'll turn ugly. No one likes to see someone else messing around in their mind.
Cobb can't build anymore, can he?
Well, I don't know if he can. He won't. He thinks it's safer if he doesn't know the layouts.
Why?
He won't tell me. I think it's Maul. I think she's getting stronger.
His ex-wife?
She's not his ex.
They're still together?
No,
Arthur turns to Ariadne, gentle.
no, she's dead. Ariane, what you see in there is just his projection of her.
What was she like in real life?
She was lovely.
Cut to exterior rooftop, Old Town Mombasa, day. Saito deposits a file in front of Cobb. Photos, documents. As Cobb runs through them, he passes them to Ames.
Robert Fisher, 32, heir to the Fisher-Morrow energy conglomerate. He spent his whole life being groomed as a successor. Breaking up his father's empire will take a radical shift in his thinking.
What's your problem with Fisher?
That's not your concern.
This isn't the usual corporate espionage, Mr. Saito. This is Inception. The seed of the idea we plant will grow in this man's mind. It'll change him. It might even come to define him.
Saito looks at Cobb.
My sources suggest you might not have always been so cautious.
Then you need new sources, Mr. Saito.
Saito considers Cobb, shrugs.
Fisher-Morrow has the regulators in their pockets. We're the last company standing between them and total energy dominance, and we can no longer compete. Soon they'll control the energy supply of half the world. They'll be able to blackmail governments, dictate policy. In fact, they become a new superpower. The world needs Robert Fisher to change his mind.
And that's where we come in. How's Robert Fisher's relationship to his father?
Rumor is the relationship is complicated.
We need more than rumor, Mr. Saito.
Ames picks up a photo. A distinguished executive, 68.
Can you get me access to him? Browning, Fisher's senior right-hand man. Fisher Jr.'s godfather.
Should be possible, if you can get the right references.
References are something of a speciality for me, Miss Saito.
Exterior decrepit building Mombasa later. Ames leads Cobb and Saito down uneven steps to a doorway. Interior stairwell, continuous. Peeling paint, buzzing flies. They ascend to a dusty, wire-reinforced glass door which Ames pushes open. Interior pharmacy, continuous. Row upon row of wooden shelves holding hundreds of dusty glass bottles of all shapes and colors. At the far end, a portly 40-year-old man rises from behind his desk, beckoning. This is Yusuf.
Come.
Ames shakes Yusuf's hand. Yusuf stops at Cobb.
Ah, yes, Mr. Cobb. I've heard very much about you. Please.
Yusuf takes a cat off Saito's chair.
Cats.
Yusuf moves to a shelf and runs his fingers over the glass bottles. None of them has a label.
You work using Somnocin, I think, Mr. Cobb?
You're well informed, Yusuf.
Yusuf places a bottle on the desk in front of Cobb.
Somnocin?
Yusuf's Somnocin.
Yusuf pulls the stopper, holds it towards Cobb's nose.
As good as the real thing?
Yusuf whips the bottle away from Cobb, offended.
Better.
Yusuf holds the bottle to the light, marveling.
Binds the dreamers tight. Lets them dream as one. Makes it real. Of course, if you'd prefer, you could use Somnocin brand. If you could explain to me, the International Control Council, what you want it for.
Yusuf puts the bottle back onto the shelf, sits.
You are seeking a chemist? To formulate compounds for a job.
And to come into the hell with us.
I rarely go into the hell, Mr. Cobb.
We need you to tailor compounds to our particular requirements.
Which are?
Great depth.
A dream within a dream. 2 levels?
3.
Not possible. That many dreams within dreams would be too unstable.
I've done it before. You just have to add a sedative.
A powerful sedative. How many team members?
5.
6. Then way to know you've done the job is if I go in with you.
There's no room for twins on these jobs, Mr. Saito.
This time, it would seem there is.
Cobb looks at him uneasy. Yusuf pulls out another bottle.
Of course. I use it every day.
Yusuf hands it to Cobb, who considers the white liquid inside.
For what?
Yusuf beckons them further into the pharmacy to a metal door. He stops. Second thoughts.
Perhaps you will not want to see.
Cobb motions to continue. Yusuf pulls out a large key. Interior backroom pharmacy continuous. A dark room with rows of low cots, each with a sleeping occupant. Tubes connect their wrist. An elderly bald man watches over them.
1820. All connected. Bloody hell.
Come every day to share the dream.
Yusuf nods at the elderly bald man, who moves to the nearest bed, reaches out to the occupant. gives his face a firm slap. The sleeper does not even stir.
See? Very stable.
How long do they dream?
3, 4 hours every day.
How long do dreams take?
With this compound, about 40 hours each and every day.
Saito surveys the room, appalled.
They do it.
Tell him, Mr. Cobb.
After a while, it becomes the only way you can.
Do you still dream, Mr. Cobb?
Cobb stares at the sleepers, uneasy.
They come here every day to sleep.
Mr. Baldman, I think you're muted.
Oh. It meant me my age. No!
Cobb turns to the elderly bald man who looks fondly at the dreamers.
They come to be woken up. The dream has become their reality.
The elderly bald man pokes a crooked finger at Cobb's chest.
Who are you to say otherwise?
Cobb stares at the elderly bald man, disturbed. Cobb turns to Yusuf, tosses him the bottle.
We'll see what you can do.
Also, I'm sorry I said Cobb's again. Interior same moments later. Cobb is lying on an empty cot asleep. Yusuf stands over him. As we move in on Cobb's sleeping face, we hear the sound of a freight train building, and we cut to exterior wasteland day, close on Cobb's face as he lies, eyes closed, cheek pressed to a metal rail. The sound of the train is deafening. Cobb is breathing, and we cut to interior backroom pharmacy day. Cobb's eyes open. Yusuf is watching him.
Sharp, no?
Cobb nods, gets to his feet, looking around. Interior bathroom, pharmacy continuous. Cobb splashes water on his face, breathing hard. Insert cut, a curtain billows. Maul turns to us, hair blowing, smiling. Cobb fumbles in his pockets, pulls out his spinning top. He tries to set it spinning on the back edge of the sink, but it falls to the floor and rolls towards the door. Saito is there, watching Cobb. He looks down at the spinning top.
Everything all right, Mr. Cobb?
Cobb dries his face with a paper towel, picks up his top.
Everything's fine.
Interior backroom workshop night. Close on a small brass chess piece, Ariadne tips it over. Frowning, she picks up a micro drill, peels back the felt on the bottom, and widens a hole in one side of its base. Tests the tipping point again. A noise makes her look up. Interior workshop continuous. Ariadne comes into the main space. Someone is there, unpacking one of the mechanisms. Cobb.
You're back.
Cobb looks up with a start. Caught out.
Are you going under on your own?
I just need to test some things. I didn't realize anyone was here.
Just working on my totem.
Ariadne holds up the chess piece. Cobb reaches for it.
Let me see.
Ariadne snaps it out of his reach, smiles. Cobb nods.
You're learning.
An elegant solution to keeping track of reality. Your invention?
No, Maul's.
Cobb pulls out his spinning top, looks at it.
This one was hers. She spin it in a dream, and it would never topple. Just spin and spin.
Arthur told me she died.
She did. Howard Maze is coming.
Ariadne indicates 3 large architectural models.
Good. Every level relates to the part of the subject's subconscious we're trying to access. I'm making the bottom level a hospital so that Fisher will bring his father there.
Don't tell me. Remember, you only want the dreamer to know the layout.
Why is that so important?
In case one of us brings in part of our subconscious, you wouldn't want any projections knowing the layout.
In case you bring Mal in.
Cobb says nothing.
You won't build yourself because if you know the maze, then she knows it, and she'd sabotage the operation. You can't keep her out, can you?
Cobb says nothing.
Do the others know?
No.
You have to warn them if that's getting worse.
I didn't say it's getting worse. Look, Ariadne, I need them for this job. I need you for this job. Without your help, I'll never get back to each other. That's all I can care about right now.
Why can't you go home, Cobb?
Cobb looks at her, deciding what to say.
They think I killed her.
How did she die?
Cobb thinks. Insert cut. Maul, wind blowing her hair, smiles at Cobb. Now we see Cobb shaking his head, tears streaming, begging.
Thank you.
For what?
For not asking what I did.
Interior workshop day. Ariadne, Arthur, Yusuf, Eames, and Saito sit around the room looking at files. Cobb presides.
The mark is Robert Fisher, heir to the Australian energy conglomerate Fisher Morrow.
Cobb opens a large presentation pad.
I will split up my father's empire.
Cobb turns to the team.
An idea Robert Fisher's conscious mind would never accept. We have to plant it deep in his subconscious.
How deep?
3 levels down.
A dream within a dream within a dream? Is that even possible?
Yes, it is. Now, the subconscious motivates through emotion, not reason. So we have to translate the idea into an emotional concept.
How do you translate a business strategy into an emotion?
That's what we have to figure out, Robert. And Robert and his father have a tense relationship. Worse even than the gossip columns have suggested.
Do you play on that? Suggest breaking up his father's company as a screw you to the old man?
No. Positive emotion trumps negative emotion every time. We yearn for people to be reconciled, for catharsis. We need positive emotional logic.
Ames thinks, paces, looking back at the board.
Try this. My father accepts that I want to create for myself, not follow in his footsteps.
That might work.
Might. I'll have to do better than that.
Thanks for the contribution, Arthur.
Well, forgive me for wanting a little specificity, Ames.
Inception is not about specificity. When we get inside his head, we're going to have to work what we find.
It is so contagious. Specificity. BAM! All right, curse broken. Arthur shrugs, frustrated, and we cut to exterior New York streets day. The team are in the middle of a deserted intersection. Where did you find it? Ariadne is showing use of aspects, oh God, of the geography.
We can split the idea into emotional triggers and use one each level.
How do you mean?
On the top level, we open up his relationship with his father. Say, I will not follow in my father's footsteps. Next level down, we've accessed his ambition and self-esteem. We feed him, I will create something myself. Then the bottom level, we bring out the emotional big guns.
My father doesn't want me to be him.
That could do it.
And how do you produce these emotional triggers?
I forge each emotional concept in the style and manner of Peter Browning, a key figure in Fisher's emotional life.
2 African pedestrians wander into view.
Are those yours?
Ames shakes his head. Cobb turns to Yusuf.
Yusuf?
Oh, we might not hear you, sir. You might be muted.
Yep, sorry.
Suppress them. We don't bring our own projections into the dream. We let Fisher's subconscious apply to people.
So when do I get to see Browning?
Fly out to Sydney on Tuesday. We've arranged for you to spend several days.
Interior anteroom, Maurice Fisher's office, day. Ames sits in the crowded room. Boxes and files are piled high. Browning stands by a pair of double doors.
It's part of a consulting litigation team working for Browning.
I'm not selling settlement here. We take them down.
Lawyer?
Mr. Browning, Maurice Fisher's policy is always one of avoiding litigation.
Browning turns to the lawyer, calm but powerful.
Shall we relay your concerns directly to Maurice?
Browning opens the doors to Maurice Fisher's inner office. Eames leans in to watch as Browning beckons the lawyer into interior Maurice Fisher's inner office. Continuous. The office is a makeshift hospital room, a bed where the desk should be. Browning addresses a figure at the window. Robert Fisher, 30s, abstracted.
How is he?
Fisher turns to Browning, motions silence as he glances at his father in the bed, wheezing gently.
I don't want to bother him unnecessarily, but I know he...
Robert! I've told you to keep out of the town!
Maurice lashes out, knocking things from his bedside table. A nurse calms Maurice as Fisher crouches to retrieve a framed photograph. He looks at the photo through the broken glass. A young boy holds a pinwheel, clearly made by a child. Each of the points is numbered in pen. His father blows on it.
Must be a cherished memory of his.
His bed, he hasn't even noticed.
Robert, we have to talk about a power of attorney. I know this is hard for you, but it's important that we start to think about the future.
Not now, Uncle Peter.
Browning looks at Fisher, considering, biding his time.
The vultures are circling. The sicker Maurice Fisher becomes, the stronger Peter Browning becomes.
Ames watches Browning, studying his every move. Interior bathroom day. Ames gestures at a mirror as if offering to shake hands.
I've had time to learn Browning's physical presence and mannerisms.
In the mirror, Browning gestures back. Interior workshop continuous.
Now, in a dream, I can impersonate Browning and suggest the concepts to Fisher's conscious mind. And then we take Fisher down another level and his own subconscious feeds it right back to him.
So he gives himself the idea.
Precisely. It's the only way to make it stick. It has to seem self-generated.
Ames, I'm impressed.
Your condescension is always much appreciated, Arthur.
Cut 2, interior deserted hotel lobby day. The team sit on the steps of the large marble lobby, debating. Ariadne is showing Arthur the lobby.
It's not scheduled for surgery, no dental, nothing.
I thought he had some knee thing.
Nothing they'd put him under for. Besides, we need a good 10 hours.
Sydney to London.
They turn to Saito.
12 hours and 45 minutes. One of the longest flights in the world. Takes it every 2 weeks.
Exterior airfield day. Fisher steps out of a black town car and walks across the tarmac toward a Gulfstream jet, accompanied by 2 aides.
Surely he flies private.
Not if there were unexpected maintenance with his plane.
Fisher is met at the steps by a distraught flight officer. Interior hotel lobby day. Cobb chews this over. Arthur comes over. Jesus! Sorry.
It'd have to be a 747.
Why?
Well, on a 747, the pilots are up above, first class. It's in the nose, so nobody walks through the cabin. We'd have to buy out the whole cabin and the first class flight attendant.
Oh, I bought the airline.
Everyone turns to Saito.
Seemed neater.
Neater, huh? Now we have 10 uninterrupted hours. Nice lobby, by the way.
And we cut to interior workshop day. The group is back in the workshop, deep in discussion.
So my question is, how do we go 3 layers with enough stability? 3 layers down, a little turbulence is going to translate into an earthquake. The dreams are going to collapse with the slightest disturbance.
Where am I? Yusuf clears his throat.
Paul got knocked off, remember?
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to do it? Yusuf clears his throat. Sedation for sleep stable enough to create 3 layers of dreaming. Interior makeshift lab day. Yusuf depresses a plunger. Arthur is sleeping in a chair. We will have to combine it with an extremely powerful sedative. Ames slaps Arthur hard. Arthur does not stir. Interior workshop day. Arthur unconsciously rubs his cheek. The compound we'll be using to share the dream is an advanced somnolent derivative. It creates a very clear connection between dreamers whilst actually accelerating brain function. Cut 2.
Buying us more time in each level.
Brain function in the dream will be about 20 times normal. And when you go into a dream within that dream, the effect is compounded.
How much time?
3 dreams. That's 10 hours times 20 times 20 times 20.
Math was never my strong suit.
It's basically a week one layer down, 6 months, 2 layers.
And 10 years in the third level. Who wants to spend 10 years in a dream?
Depends on the dream.
It's not going to take us long to crack the fissure open once we get going. We'll be out in a couple of days, max.
How do we get out once we've made the plant? I mean, I hope you've got something a little more elegant in mind than shooting me in the head like the last time.
Arthur tilts back in his chair. Yusuf turns to Cobb.
A kick.
What's a kick?
Ames slits his foot under Arthur's chair leg, tips it. Arthur's legs shoot up instinctively for balance.
Apparently, would be a kick.
The feeling of falling which snaps you awake. We use that to jolt ourselves awake once we're done.
Yeah, but how are we going to feel that through the sedation?
Ah, well, that's the clever part. I customized the sedative. Interior makeshift lab day. Cobb, Ames, and Yusuf watch Arthur asleep in a chair to leave inner ear function unimpaired. Yusuf, with a wicked grin, slowly tips Arthur's chair backwards as he falls. Arthur's body jerks, eyes opening just before he hits the floor. Interior workshop day. Arthur thinks, nodding slowly. That way, however deep the sleeper will still feel falling. Interior makeshift lab day. Yusuf gleefully leans a sleeping Arthur to one side. Or tipping. Arthur goes down with a crash, jerking awake. Interior workshop day. Arthur thinks this through.
Oh, God, even that won't cut through 3 layers of deep sleep.
The trick is to devise a kick for each level. Skipping that penetrates all 3 layers.
Arthur looks at Cobb, getting it.
Well, we can use the musical countdown to synchronize the different kicks.
Interior workshop, night. Ariadne comes into the darkened main space. Cobb is lying on one of the chairs asleep, plugged into the mechanism. Ariadne stands over him, watching. She opens the case, pulls one of the tubes, sits, checking the dials as she injects the needle cap into her arm, and we cut to interior cage-style elevator day. Ariadne ascends. She looks at the buttons, spots the B. The elevator stops. She looks through the grill at interior young girl's bedroom day. Ariadne pulls back the grill and walks across the room, considering the dusty furnishings. At the window is a doll's house, front slightly ajar. Ariadne opens it. Inside it is a safe. She tries it. Locked. A noise startles her. She turns, looking through a doorway into another room. Interior living room continuous. Ariadne looks into the room to see Cobb and Maul talking, arguing. A private moment. Maul brushes at Cobb's hair, trying to convince him. We hear snatches of conversation.
You remember when you asked me to marry you?
Of course.
You said you had a dream.
That we grow old together.
And we can. You know how to find me. You know what you have to do.
Cobb is shaking his head gently. Maul looks into Cobb's eyes, gentle, loving. Maul spots Ariadne spying on them, freezes, staring, hostile. Cobb turns, sees Ariadne, moves towards her, leaving Maul.
You shouldn't be in here.
Cobb guides her back into the elevator.
I wanted to know what tests you need to do on your own every night.
Interior cage-style elevator day. Cobb shuts the cage door. Ariadne hits a button. The elevator rises. Through the grill, Ariadne can see a beach stretching off into the distance. The elevator stops. Mal sits on the sand. Beside her, the 2 children are crouched away from us, building a sandcastle.
Why do you do this to yourself?
This is the only way I can still dream.
Is it so important to dream?
Cobb stares at his family.
In my dreams, we're still together.
The kids, without turning around, jump up and run away. Interior cage-style elevator continuous. The elevator descends.
These aren't just dreams, are they? They're memories. You said never to use memories.
And I shouldn't.
You're keeping her alive.
No.
You can't let her go.
No, these are moments I regret. Moments I turn into dreams so I can change them.
Ariadne's fingers move across the buttons, stop at the B.
What have you got buried down there that you regret?
Cobb pushes her hand away, hits the 3rd floor button.
There's only one thing I need you to understand about.
Interior kitchen, Cobb and Maul's house, moments later. Ariadne follows Cobb into the kitchen. A thin man is there, standing by the table. He holds a folded piece of paper.
This is your house?
Mine and Maul's.
Where is she?
She'd already died.
The thin man offers Cobb the piece of paper. A child shout. Cobb turns. Ariadne follows his gaze to the garden. A small blonde boy faces away from them, crouched on his haunches to look at something on the ground.
It's James. My boy. He's found something. Maybe a worm.
A slightly older girl runs into view.
There's Philippa.
She crouches beside the boy. Their faces are away from us. They point and discuss whatever is on the ground.
Thought about calling out so they turn and smile. Those incredible smiles. But I'm out of time.
The thin man thrusts the paper into Cobb's hand.
Right now or never, Cobb.
Cobb nods, turns from the window.
Then I panic that I always wish I'd seen them turn. That I can't waste a chance.
Cobb turns back to call out, but the children race off.
But the moments pass. Whatever I do, the dream's always the same. When I'm about to call, they run.
Cobb watches them run off, calling for Grandma, faces unseen.
I'm going to see their faces again. I've got to get back in here get back here in the real world.
Behind him, Ariadne slams the grill shut. Cobb turns. Interior cage-style elevator continuous. Ariadne hits the basement button. The elevator starts to descend. Ariadne stares, fascinated as glimpses of floor slip past. Maul's childhood bedroom, a thundering wall of freight train. The elevator stops. Through the grill, Ariadne sees a hotel suite. She pulls open the grill, steps cautiously out into interior elegant hotel suite continuous, now night. Disheveled bedclothes, upended room service table, strawberries across the floor, a struggle. Ariadne steps forward, smash. She looks down to see that she has kicked over a champagne flute. Ariadne feels a draft. The curtain billows.
What are you doing here?
Ariadne turns. Mal is there.
My name is...
I know who you are. What are you doing here?
I don't know. Trying to understand?
How could you understand? Do you know what it is to be a lover? To be half of a whole?
No.
Mal moves slowly towards Ariadne.
I'll tell you already. You're waiting for your train. Your train, it will take you far away. You know where you hope this train will take you, but you don't know for sure.
Mal glides around Ariadne, looking her over.
But it doesn't matter. How can it not matter? You were there that the train will take you.
Because you'll be together.
Cobb is standing in the elevator. Mal nods, looks at him.
How could you bring her here, Don?
What is this place?
A hotel. We spent our anniversaries in this suite.
What happened here?
Mal picks up the broken stem of a champagne flute. Interior cage-style elevator continuous. Cobb pulls Ariadne into the elevator. Mal throws herself towards Ariadne. Cobb slams the grill. Mal smashes against it. Again and again like a wild animal. Ariadne flinches.
You promised you said we'd be together.
We can. We will. But I need you to stay here for now.
You said we'd grow old together.
Cobb pushes a button and the elevator starts to rise.
I'll come back. I need you to stay here on your own for now, just while I do this job. Then we can be together.
We'll be together, you promised.
Mal throws herself against the grill and we cut to interior workshop night. Ariadne watches Cobb sleeping. His eyes gradually flicker open. He sees her watching him.
You think you can just build a prison of memories to lock her in? You think that's going to contain her?
The lights come on. Saito and Arthur stand in the doorway.
Maurice Fisher just died in Sydney.
When's the funeral?
Thursday. In Los Angeles.
Robert will accompany the body Tuesday at the outside. Yes.
Cobb gets up. Ariadne comes over to him.
I'm coming with you.
No. I promised Miles.
The team needs someone in there who understands what you're struggling with. If you don't want it to be me, then you need to show Arthur what I just saw.
Cobb looks at Ariadne, turns to Saito.
Need one more seat on the plane.
Interior departure gate, Sydney, day. Saito stands looking out the window at a 747. Cobb arrives behind him. They watch a coffin being loaded.
If I get on this plane and you haven't taken care of things, when we land, I go to jail for the rest of my life.
Leave the job en route. I make one phone call from the plane. You leave. You will have no trouble clearing immigration.
Interior first class cabin 747 continuous. The luxury cabin has only 10 seats. Cobb finds his, sees Ariadne in the seat behind his. They do not acknowledge each other. Behind her is Arthur, looking out the window. Ames enters, stuffs his bag into the overhead bin, blocking the passenger behind, Robert Fisher, standing there patient, bag in hand, wearing black.
Oh, sorry.
Ames squeezes up against his seat to let Fisher brush past. Fisher moves to his seat directly in front of Cobb. Ames tosses Cobb a passport. Cobb flips it open. Fisher's. Pockets it. Yusuf and Saito enter, take their seats. Exterior runway moments later. The 747 hurtles down the runway. Interior first class cabin 747 moments later. Cobb looks down at his hand, a tiny vial taped to the center of his palm. He removes the cap. The seatbelt sign goes dark. Cobb unbuckles, stands.
Excuse me.
Fisher looks up.
Yes.
I think this is yours.
Cobb holds up the open passport, comparing the picture to Fisher. Fisher's hand goes to his pocket. Cobb hands Fisher the passport. Would you gentlemen care for a drink?
Water.
Same.
Fisher gives Cobb a thin smile, holds up his passport.
Well, thank you.
No problem. Look, I couldn't help noticing your name. You're not related to Maurice Fisher.
Fisher takes a beat, but Cobb seems harmless.
Actually, he was my father.
I'm very sorry for your loss. He was an inspiring figure.
The flight attendant brings their drinks. Cobb takes them.
Thanks.
As he turns to Fisher, he lowers his right hand. A clear liquid drops into Fisher's water as Cobb hands it to him.
To Maurice Fisher, I leave you in peace.
Fisher grants him a smile. Exterior 747 later, the great plane soars through a burning cloudscape. Interior first class cabin 747 moments later, Cobb reaches into the overhead for a blanket, lets it fall onto Fisher's head. Fisher doesn't flinch, asleep. Cobb signals the others. The first flight attendant unlocks a cupboard in the galley, then leaves, closing the curtain. Arthur moves into the galley and pulls out a mechanism case. Cobb and Arthur open the mechanism, uncoil the tubes, feed them around the window side of each of the seats. Arthur rolls up Fisher's cuff, pushes the needle cap into Fisher's wrist. Arthur pulls Fisher's cuff down and hides the tubes behind the armrest of Fisher's seat. Arthur runs the next tube to Ariadne. Cobb puts the case on Yusuf's lap. Yusuf checks the timers, tapping the syringes. The others recline in their seats. Yusuf hits a button, closes the case, places it at his feet. He settles back in. We cut to interior sedan day. Cobb drives. Saito and Arthur are in the back. Rain beats down. Cobb pulls over. Exterior New York streets continuous. Yusuf stands on the corner, silver briefcase in hand, collar turned up against the rain. He reaches for the door. Interior sedan continuous. Yusuf clambers into the back, brushing rain from his face.
Couldn't you have peed before we went under?
Sorry.
The front door opens and Ames climbs in, soaked.
Bit too much free champagne before takeoff, Yusuf.
Ah, bloody ha.
At least we know he'll be looking for a cab in this.
Interior exterior sedan on rainy New York streets continuous. Cobb pulls out into the heavy traffic. He weaves around several cars before lining up behind a yellow cab.
Brace yourselves.
Cobb hits the gas, rear ends the cab with a crunch. The cab driver gets out fuming, heads to Cobb's window.
Hey, asshole, why don't you try driving without your thumb up?
He sees the silenced pistol Cobb is holding at his belly.
Walk away.
The cab driver backs off. Arthur climbs into the cab. Both cars pull away. Interior, exterior cab on the rainy New York streets continuous. Arthur slows in front of the train station, peering at the pedestrians. He spots Fisher, lights the cab sign. Fisher flags him down. Fisher jumps into the back, brushing rain from his shoulders.
Third and Market. Snappy.
Ames jumps in from the other side.
What are you doing?
Sorry, thought it was free. Maybe we could share.
Maybe not.
Saito gets into the front passenger seat, pointing a gun.
Great.
Arthur pulls away. Fisher pulls out his wallet and tosses it at Ames.
There's $500 in there, and the wallet's worth more than that. For that, you ought to at least drop me at my stop.
Ames smiles at this.
I'm afraid.
A shot shatters the window by Ames's head. Another shot impacts by Saito.
Get us out of here!
Arthur hits the gas, but a black SUV skids sideways in front, blocking the path. A block behind, Cobb is at a light. Ariadne is getting in the front. Cobb has heard the gunfire.
Come on.
Cobb looks ahead to the ambush, hits the gas. The sedan rockets forward, but BAM! A freight train clips the front of the sedan, shoving it sideways as an endless train barrels past a wall between Cobb and the ambush. A second SUV is behind the cab. Plainclothes security men advance through the traffic, weapons trained on the cab. Bullets rip into the cab as Ames throws himself on top of Fisher, pulling a sack over his head. Inside the sedan, Ariadne watches the train passing.
This wasn't in the design.
Cobb backs up, spins around, heading for the tail of the train. A security man emerges from the front SUV carrying an automatic rifle. He steps towards the cab through the rain, raises his weapon, and blasts the cab's windscreen. Cobb clears the end of the train and skids across the tracks. Arthur crouches down, pushes the accelerator with his hand, yanks the wheel, flying blind. The cab nails the security man, crunching into the front SUV. Cobb smashes his car into the rear SUV, creating a gap. Arthur yanks the transmission and reverses, scraping through the gap. Security men dive out of the way. Arthur throws a ragged J-turn to head down a side street. Cobb follows in the other car. Rain whips across Arthur's face as he breathes.
Everybody okay, Saito?
Arthur looks at Saito. Saito's hand is at his belly, covered in blood. Blood? Exterior warehouse. Moments later, the sedan and cab pull into the side entrance. Ames jumps out. I couldn't help myself. Pulls the shutter down behind them. Interior warehouse continuous. Yusuf and Ames pull Fisher from the cab, hustling him through a doorway. Cobb jumps out of the sedan, furious.
Arthur, what the?
Arthur pulls the bloody Saito in the front seat.
Oh, Christ. Is he dying?
I don't know. What happened back there? Where were you?
We were blocked by a freight train.
Why would you put a train crossing in a downtown intersection?
I didn't.
Why were we all ambushed, Arthur? Those weren't regular projections. They've been trained.
How could they be trained?
Fisher had an extractor teach his mind to defend itself. His subconscious is militarized. It should have shown in the research.
So why the hell didn't it?
Calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down. You were meant to check Fisher's background thoroughly. We can't make this kind of mistake. We're not prepared for this kind of violence.
Cobb, we've dealt with sub-security before. We just have to be more...
This wasn't a part of the plan, Arthur. He's dying.
We put him out of his misery.
Ames steps into the room, pulls his gun, and moves over Saito.
No.
He's in agony. Let's wake him up.
Cobb grabs Ames's arm.
No. It won't wake him up.
What do you mean it won't wake him up? When you die in a dream, you wake up.
Not from this. We're too heavily sedated to wake up that way.
Ames looks at Yusuf, then back to Cobb.
So what happens if one of us dies?
That person doesn't wake up. Their mind drops to limbo. You guys are muted.
You're muted.
Oh, muted, sorry.
Limbo.
Raw, infinite subconscious. Nothing there but what was left behind by anyone on the team who's been trapped there before. On this team, just Cobb.
How long would we be stuck there?
You couldn't even think about trying to escape until the sedation eases.
How long?
Decades. It could be infinite. I don't know. Ask him. He's the one who's been there before.
Ames moves to Cobb, looks him in the eye.
Great. So now we're stuck in Fisher's mind, battling it out with his private army. And if we get hit, we're stuck in limbo till our brains dissolve into a scrambled egg.
Cobb says nothing. Saito groans more loudly.
Let's get him upstairs.
Interior office warehouse. Moments later, Saito is laid out on an old desk. Arthur examines him. He motions to Ariadne. Ames watches Cobb.
Hold this. Firm pressure.
Arthur turns to Cobb.
You knew the risk and you didn't tell us?
There wasn't meant to be any risk. We weren't supposed to be dealing with a lot of gunfire.
You had no right.
It's the only way you can go 3 layers deep, Arthur.
Arthur turns to Yusuf, hostile.
And you went along with this?
I trusted him.
You trusted him? When? When he promised you half his share?
No. His whole share. Plus, he told me he'd done it before.
Arthur turns to Cobb.
Oh, yeah. With Mal? That worked out great, didn't it, Cobb?
Cobb grabs Arthur.
You don't know anything about that. This was the only way to do this job, Arthur. I did what I had to do to get back to my children.
So you let us into a war zone with no way out?
We have a way out, the kick. We just have to push on, do the job as fast as possible, and get out using the kick.
Forget it. We go any deeper, we just raise the stakes. I'm sitting it out on this level.
You'll never make it, Ames. Fisher security is surrounding this place as we speak. In 10 hours, the fight is weak at this level. You'll never make it without getting killed. Downwards is the only way forwards. We have to carry on.
Saito groans. Cobb looks at him.
And we have to do it fast.
Ames and Arthur weigh this.
Ames, go get ready. Arthur, let's get in there and soften them up.
Interior bathroom warehouse later. Cobb and Arthur wearing balaclavas. Balaclavas, sorry, there's an extra syllable there. Pull the sack from Fisher's head. Damn it. He was chained to the radiator.
I'm insured against kidnapping up to $10 million. This will be simple as shit.
No, it won't.
Fisher looks at Cobb, unnerved.
In your... That's supposed to be father's office. In your father's office, below the bookshelves, in his personal safe, we need the combination.
I never noticed a safe.
Doesn't mean you don't know the combination.
Well, I don't.
We have it on good authority that you do.
Whose?
Interior office warehouse continuous. Yusuf looks through Fisher's wallet. Ames is opening a hinged three-wing mirror.
$500 this costs?
What's inside?
Cash, cards, ID, and this.
Yusuf holds up a snapshot, the photo from Maurice Fisher's office. Young Robert holds his homemade pinwheel. His father blows on it. Ames takes it from Yusuf, studies it. Cobb enters. Ames hands him the snapshot.
Useful.
Cobb studies the snapshot. Ames examines himself in the hinged mirror from multiple angles. One by one, the myriad Ames reflections become Brownings. Cobb pockets the photo.
You're on. Got an hour.
And how? I was supposed to have all night to crack him.
And Saito was supposed to keep his guts on the inside. You've got an hour to get something we can use.
Ames turns from the mirror as Browning. He glances at his watch, then screams as if begging for mercy. Interior bathroom warehouse continuous. Browning's cry reverberates. Fisher looks up, concerned. I believe he did say, "What's that?"
I couldn't hear him, sorry. Good authority.
Another cry rings out. Fisher recognizes the voice.
Uncle Peter? Make them stop.
The combination.
I don't know it.
Why would Browning tell us you did?
Let me talk to him. I'll find out.
Interior bathroom warehouse moments later. Cobb pushes Browning, Ames, bloody and bruised, into the room and forces him down next to Fisher. Why do I keep wanting to say Flesher? Anyway, Cobb handcuffs Browning's wrist to a metal bracket on the side of the sink.
Got an hour. Get talking.
Cobb leaves.
They've had me for 2 days. They've got someone with access to your father's office, and they're trying to open his safe. They thought I'd know the combination, but I don't.
Neither do I. Uncle Peter?
But Maurice told me that after he passed, only you would be able to open it.
He never gave me the combination.
Browning thinks for a minute, realizes something.
He did. He just didn't tell you that it was a combination.
What then?
Something only you would know. Some meaningful combination of numbers from your experiences with Maurice.
We didn't have a lot of meaningful experiences together.
Perhaps after your mother died.
After my mother died, I went to him in my grief. You know what he told me? There's really nothing to be said, Robert.
He always had a hard time with emotional...
I was 11, Uncle Peter.
Browning, Ames, takes this in.
He loved you, Robert, in his way.
In his way. At the end, he called me to his deathbed. He could barely speak, but he took the trouble to say one last thing to me. He pulled me close. I could make out only one word. Disappointment.
Browning can say nothing. Womp womp. Interior office warehouse continuous. Cobb pulls off his balaclava. There it is, Jen. Looks down at Saito, who is breathing fast and shallow.
How's he doing?
He's in a lot of pain.
Cobb takes Saito's hand, looks him in the eye.
We'll get you down to the next level. The pain will be less intense.
Saito nods, breathing hard.
And if he dies?
His conscious mind will drop out of the dream. He'll be trapped in limbo for a lifetime.
What will that do to him?
Cobb looks at her. grave.
When he wakes, his mind could be completely gone.
When we wake, I'll still honor our arrangement.
Cobb looks down at Saito sadly.
Saito-san, when you wake, you might not even remember that we had an arrangement. You'll have forgotten this world. Limbo will be your reality. Lost there so long, you'll have to become an old man.
Filled with regret?
Waiting to die alone, yes.
Then I'll take the chance and come back. And we'll be young men together again.
Ooh, Saito smiles weakly. Cobb nods at him, turns to Ariadne.
When were you trapped in limbo?
Cobb says nothing. Ariadne pulls him away from Saito.
Cobb, you might have convinced the rest of this team to carry on with the job, but they don't know the truth.
What truth?
The truth that at any minute you might bring a freight train through the wall. The truth that Mal is bursting up through your subconscious. The truth that as we go deeper into Fisher, we're also going deeper into you, and I'm not sure we're going to like what we find there.
Cobb stares back at Ariadne, saying nothing.
This is not just about Fisher. It's about you. Tell me what happened to you and Mal, trapped in limbo.
Cobb looks at her, thinking it through.
We were on a job, exploring dreams within dreams. We didn't understand how your mind could turn hours into years, how you could get trapped so deep that when you washed up on the shore of your subconscious.
Insert cut. Mal lies on the sand, staring up at a cloudless sky, waves washing over her.
You can lose track of what's real.
How long were you stuck?
Cobb pauses before he answers, looks at Ariadne.
50 years.
Ariadne stares at him, incredulous.
How did you stand it?
Insert cut. Cobb and Mal build a stand castle on the beach.
We built and created a whole world for ourselves.
Insert cut. Cobb and Mal walk through a deserted city.
It's not so bad at first being gods. The problem is knowing that it's not real. It became impossible for me to live like that.
But not for her?
She accepted it at some point.
Insert cut. Interior Mal's childhood home. Sorry, Mal. Day. Mal opens a doll's house. Inside is a safe. She opens it. It is empty. She pulls out her spinning top.
She decided to forget that our world wasn't real.
Mal places the top inside the safe, locks it away. Interior office, warehouse, continuous.
When you finally woke up?
To wake from that, from decades lived, to be old souls thrown back into youth. It was hard at first. Mal seemed okay, but I started to realize something was wrong. Finally, she admitted it. This idea she was possessed by. This simple little idea that changed everything.
What was it?
That our world was not real. No matter what I did, no matter what I said, she was convinced that we were still in a dream. That we needed to wake up again.
Interior Cobb and Mal's kitchen. Day. Flashback. Cobb is trying to calm Mal, who is hysterical.
That to get home, we'd have to kill ourselves.
Interior workshop. Day. Ariadne looks at Cobb, appalled.
What about your children?
Cobb has to look away.
She believed she believed they weren't real. That our real children were waiting somewhere above.
Interior Cobb and Mal's kitchen. Day. Flashback. Mal shakes her head at Cobb as he ushers the children out of the room, faces unseen.
Calm down, Mal.
The projection's done. Your dreams. I'm their mother, You don't think I can tell the difference?
Cobb closes the door, turns to her, eyes full of bitter tears.
If it's my dream, then why can't I control it? Why can't I stop this?
You don't know you're dreaming.
You keep telling me I am.
And you don't believe me.
She was certain, but she loved me too much to go without me. So she made a plan.
Interior elegant hotel corridor. Night. Flashback. Cobb walks along, checking door numbers against a key.
For our anniversary.
Interior elegant hotel suite continuous. Flashback. Cobb enters the lavish suite. He notices the disheveled bedclothes. He steps forward. Smash! He has tipped over a champagne glass with his foot. Dinner for two is spread across the floor. He looks at the debris, confused. Next to the broken glass is a spinning top. He picks it up, studying it, thinking. He feels a draft, looking to the window. The curtain billows. Exterior Exterior. That's annoying. Atrium. Continuous. Flashback. Cobb looks out the window. Miles sits on the ledge of the opposite window, hair blowing, feet dangling over the dizzyingly high atrium. She smiles.
Join me.
Mal, come back inside.
No, I'm going to jump. And you're coming with me.
No, I'm not. This is real life. If you jump, you're not going to wake up. You're going to die. Let's go back inside and talk about this, please.
We've talked enough.
She kicks off a shoe and watches it drop.
Come out onto the ledge or I'll jump right now.
She means it. Cobb swings his legs out, sitting on the ledge opposite his wife. He looks down at the drop.
I'm asking you to take the leap of faith.
I can't do that, Mal. I can't leave our children.
If I go without you, they'll take them anyway.
What do you mean?
I filed a letter with our attorney, explaining how I'm fearful for my safety, how you've threatened to kill me.
Cobb looks back at the wrecked hotel suite, panicking.
I love you, Don. I freed you from the guilt of choosing to leave them. We're going home to our real children.
Our children are here, Mal.
Mal closes her eyes. Cobb looks for some way to reach her.
You're waiting for the train.
No, Mal. No, I can't.
A train that will take you far away.
Don't do this.
We know where you hope this train will take you. We can't know for sure.
Don't.
But it doesn't matter.
No.
Because you'll be together.
Mal slips forward into space. Cobb screams after her, then tries to bury his face in the wall. Interior office, warehouse day. Cobb stares as he remembers.
The letter to the authorities refuted all claims about her sanity that she knew I made.
Interior Cobb and Mal's kitchen day. Flashback. Cobb stands with the thin man who has a piece of paper.
She had herself declared sane by 3 different psychiatrists.
Cobb hears a shout, turns to the garden. James crouches. Philippa joins him, examining the ground, faces unseen.
It was impossible for me to explain the nature of her madness.
The thin man thrusts the paper into Cobb's hand.
Right now or never, Cobb.
Cobb turns back to the window, about to call out. James and Philippa run off. Cobb turns from the window, looks at the paper in his hand. It is an airplane ticket.
So I ran, and I've been running ever since, trying to buy my way back to my family.
Interior office, warehouse day. Cobb looks across at Ariadne.
Psychiatrist judged her sane?
She was sane. She was just lost in the labyrinth.
Then why should you blame yourself?
Because we were a family. We had a life. I would do anything to get back to her. That reality was enough for me then.
It might have been your idea to push the limits, Cobb, but you're not responsible for the idea that destroyed her. The idea that her world wasn't real, that was her own idea from her own mind.
Cobb says nothing.
Your guilt defines her, powers her. If we're going to succeed in this, you're going to have to forgive yourself, and you're going to have to confront her. But you don't have to do it alone.
You don't have to do this for me.
I'm doing it for the others. They don't know the risk you take in coming in here with you.
Cobb looks at the rooftop opposite, sees a sniper take up a position. Cobb shakes his head, frustrated.
We can't stay here. Arthur?
Interior bathroom, warehouse, continuous. Browning puts his hand on Fisher's shoulder.
These people are going to kill us if we don't give them the combination.
They won't. They'll try to ransom us.
I heard them. They're going to lock us in and run the can into the river.
What is in the safe?
Something for you. Maurice always said it was his most precious gift. A will.
Maurice's will is with Port and Dunn.
It's an alternate. It supersedes the other only if you want it to.
What does it say?
It splits all the component businesses of Fisher Morrow into individual companies, transferring ownership to the boards of those companies.
Leaving me nothing.
A basic living, nothing more. The entire empire would cease to exist.
Destroy my own inheritance. Why would he suggest such a thing?
I don't know, Robert.
Cobb opens the door. Arthur is behind him.
Come to your senses?
Let us go. I don't know the combination. Not consciously.
Cobb considers this, opens his phone, pulls out his gun.
Let's try it instinctively. I have someone standing in your father's office.
He holds the phone to Fisher's mouth.
4 6 numbers that come into your head right now.
I have no idea.
Cobb swings the gun onto Browning.
Right now.
5, 2, 8, 4, 9, 1.
Cobb lowers his weapon, listens to the phone, shakes his head, shuts the phone.
You have to do better. Bag them.
Arthur puts sacks over their heads. Interior warehouse continuous. Cobb and Arthur drag Fisher and Browning to the van.
We're worth much more to you alive.
Arthur places Fisher on the back seat, uses a dropper to drop liquid into Fisher's mask, dang it. His head slumps forward. Browning yanks the sack from his head. It's now Ames.
His relationship with his father is much worse than we thought.
That helps us.
Arthur pulls a sniper rifle from the case by the van.
The stronger the issues, the more powerful the catharsis.
Cobb motions for Yusuf to follow him upstairs.
Yeah, but how do you reconcile them if they're estranged?
I'm working on that.
Arthur lines up a shot through the window.
Yeah, work faster, pictures. Projections are closing in quick. We need to break out of there before we're totally boxed in.
Arthur shoots 2 snipers. Cobb and Yusuf gently load Saito into the van. He groans. Ariadne straps him in, checks his bandages. Arthur can't get the last sniper. He's too hidden behind a wall.
Shouldn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
Well done with throwing the darling in there. Ames lines up a shot with a grenade launcher. Fires. The sniper explodes into the air. Arthur looks at Ames.
Shall we?
Boom. They climb into the van. Interior-exterior van on rainy streets continuous. The van pulls out into the rain-drenched streets. Arthur opens the mechanism case and hands out
Shifting Fisher's antipathy from his father onto Browning should work.
We need the imagery, the words.
Do you destroy his one positive relationship?
No, we repair his relationship with his father and expose his godfather's true nature.
Hell, we should be charging Fisher as much as Saito.
Yeah, well, what about his security? It's going to get worse as we go deeper.
We bring in Mr. Charles.
No.
Who's Mr. Charles?
A bad idea.
Arthur, the second we approach Fisher in that hotel, they're going to mow us down. We run with Mr. Charles like on the Stein job.
So you've done it before?
Sure, but it didn't work. The subject realized he was dreaming and his subconscious tore us to pieces.
Ames takes this in.
You learned a lot though, right?
I'll need a decoy.
No problem. How about a pretty young lady I've used before?
Fine.
Cobb looks back. A second SUV pulls out, tailing them.
I know you've got to stay ahead of them, but drive with kid gloves, okay? The world down there is going to be very unstable.
And don't make the jump too soon. That kick is our only way back. We have to be ready to catch it.
I'll use the music to let you know when it's coming, but the rest is up to you.
Arthur puts the mechanism onto the front seat.
Everyone ready?
Nods all around.
Sweet dreams.
Yusuf hits a button and we cut to interior hotel lobby bar sunset. Fisher nurses a drink, staring at the ice cracking. Ooh, it's me. Am I boring you? Fisher looks up. A beautiful blonde is next to him. I was telling you my story. I guess it wasn't to your liking.
I have a lot on my mind.
Fisher looks around the bar. There are several stern-looking characters paying him too much attention. Interior hotel lobby continuous. Arthur and Ariadne sit at a table across the lobby. They spot Cobb moving across the lobby towards Fisher.
There goes Mr. Charles.
Who or what exactly is Mr. Charles?
It's a gambit design turned Fisher against his own subconscious.
Interior hotel lobby bar continuous. Cobb approaches the bar, watched closely by Fisher's security.
Mr. Fisher, good to see you again. Rod Green, marketing. And you must be?
Leaving. She presses against Fisher as she slides off her stool and deposits a cocktail napkin in front of him. In case you get bored. Cobb watches her walk away. Ew, I feel so Calabasas right now. Anyway, the sub-security follows her.
I think you just got blown off. Unless your phone number really does only have 6 digits.
Fisher glances at the napkin. 528491. Interior hotel lobby continuous. Arthur watches the sub-security follow the blonde.
And why don't you approve?
Because it involves telling the Mark he's dreaming, which involves attracting a lot of attention to us.
Didn't Cobb say never to do that?
You must have noticed by now how much time Cobb spends doing things he says never do.
Interior hotel lobby bar continuous. Cobb turns to Fisher.
Strange way to make friends. Empty your wallet, I mean.
Fisher pats his pocket. Empty! He looks to the lobby where he sees the sub-security trailing the blonde.
God damn it. The wallet's alone worthless.
$500. I know. Don't worry. My guys are onto it.
What did you say you were?
Fisher looks at him, curious. Cobb plows on, confident.
I said I was Rod Green for marketing, but I'm not. My name is Mr. Charles. I might seem familiar to you. I'm in charge of your security here.
Interior hotel lobby continuous. The blonde hurries up to Saito, emerging from the elevator. Mr. Saito, can I have a minute? She pushes him back into the elevator, closing the door as the sub-security approaches. Interior elevator continuous. The blonde fondles Saito's lapels, getting close.
I'm sorry, but...
Saito glances over her shoulder to see, in the tunnel of infinite reflections created by the elevator's opposing mirrors, 3 reflections in the blonde's Ames. He winks.
Very amusing, Mr. Ames.
What is your desire? You look a bit pokier.
A shudder ripples through the elevator.
Turbulence on the plane.
Feels closer. That's Yusuf's driving.
And we cut to interior exterior van on rainy downtown streets day. Yusuf fights the wheel as the van cuts down an alley, bumping over potholes and smashing trash cans aside. 3 SUVs in furious pursuit. Yusuf looks in the rearview mirror, frustrated. He checks his watch, then checks the back. The sleepers shake with the impact, and we cut to interior hotel lobby bar. Night as a tremor echoes through the bar. Fisher looks at Cobb, trying to place him. You might want to unmute yourself.
Damn it, Travis.
Oh, sorry, all this dreaming. Security, you work for the hotel?
No, my specialty is subconscious security.
You're talking about dreams. You're talking about extraction.
Exactly. My job is to protect you.
Behind Fisher, a waiter puts down a tray, tipping a champagne glass over. Smash! Cobb notices. Pauses, looks across the bar. His 2 children are crouched, backs toward us. Cobb... breathe, Jen. Cobb looks around the bar. The patrons start to stare at Cobb, suspicious. Cobb shifts back to Fisher.
My job is to protect you from any attempt to access your mind through your dreams.
Cobb regains his patter. The patrons lose interest. Interior elevator continuous. Ames pulls out Fisher's wallet, moves to hand it to Saito, then pauses, opens it, leaves past the cast to find the snapshot. Young Robert holding his homemade pinwheel, his father blowing on it. The elevator doors open and Ames steps off, hands Saito the wallet.
Get off to different floor and keep moving. Dump the wallet. Then meet me in the lobby. Security will try to track it down. We need to buy Cobb a little more time.
The doors close. Saito puts the wallet in his pocket. He coughs. A deep, nasty cough. Very well done. Interior hotel lobby bar continuous. Cobb looks over at Fisher's shoulder to see a suited man watching him. Another man is walking in from the lobby.
You're not safe here.
Cobb steps away from the bar. Fisher does not move.
Trust me, they're coming for you.
Fisher sizes him up. A clap of thunder echoes, and we cut to interior exterior van on rainy downtown streets day. Gunshots blast out the rear and side windows of the van. A security man is leaning out of the lead SUV with a shotgun. Wind and rain rip through the van in the back. Arthur's sleeping face is whipped by the spray, and we cut to interior hotel lobby bar sunset. Fisher looks out the window at sudden hurricane-like rain.
Strange weather, huh?
A tremor runs through the bar. Cobb looks around.
Feel that?
Interior hotel lobby continuous. Ariadne and Arthur watch the gusts of wind rattle the windows. Arthur sees hotel guests staring out at the weather, puzzled. Several of them turn to look directly at Arthur.
What's happening?
Cobb's drawing Fisher's attention to the strangeness of the dream that's making the subconscious look for the dreamer. For me.
And we cut to interior exterior van on rainy streets day. At the end of the alley, Yusuf throws the van into a hard right turn. We move into extreme slow motion. The sleepers in the back are drawn to one side of the van by the centrifugal force. And we cut to interior hotel lobby bar continuous. The liquid in Fisher's drink rises up against one side of the glass. Fisher notices, confused.
Very odd, the weather, the gravity.
Fisher looks around the bar. It's as if the entire room is set at a 45-degree angle, glasses sliding off tables.
But I can explain all of this. You've actually been trained for this. Think of the strangeness of the weather, the shifts in gravity. None of this is real. We're in a dream.
Fisher looks at the room around them, back to Cobb. All through the bar, the patrons turn to look at Cobb in unison.
The simplest test of what I'm saying is for you to try and remember anything about the way you arrived in this hotel, okay?
Fisher stares at Cobb, trying to process this. All around them, people stare at Cobb. Several get up as if to approach.
Breathe. Remember the training. Accept the fact that we're in a dream. That's why I'm here protecting you.
As Fisher considers this, we cut to interior exterior van on rainy streets day. Yusuf straightens up the van, racing down the street, swerving through traffic, and we cut to interior hotel lobby bar evening. The building gradually eases back into alignment.
So you're not real.
The Cobb patrons start to ignore Cobb again.
No. I'm a projection of your subconscious. I was put in place to protect you in the event that extractors pulled you into a dream. I believe that's what has happened.
Fisher takes this in, then looks at security men approaching across the crooked floor. He nods at Cobb. Yay! The plan's working. Interior hotel lobby, evening. Cobb escorts Fisher across the lobby. As he does so, he walks past the two children, backs to us. Cobb ignores them. The two sub-security fall in behind. Cobb hurries Fisher up the stairs, then pushes him into interior hotel lobby bathroom continuous. Fisher stumbles in, turns to Cobb, angry.
Hey!
Cobb reaches into his jacket. The first man bursts in. Cobb kicks him to the ground, draws his gun as the second man comes through the door, moving towards Fisher. Blam! Cobb blasts the second man in the back, turns and shoots the first man.
Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
Cobb turns to Fisher, calm, convincing.
Look at the gun in his hand.
Fisher looks. The second man was holding a pistol. Cobb opens the first man's jacket to show Fisher his holster and sidearm.
These men weren't sent to adopt you.
Cobb pulls out the gun and hands it to Fisher.
If I'm going to help you, I need you.
Fisher remembers something.
If this is a dream, I have to kill myself and wake up.
Fisher raises the gun towards his head.
I won't do that. They probably get you sedated. If you pull that trigger, you might not wake up. You might drop into a lower dream state. Mr. Fisher, you know all this. You just have to remember it. Fisher
lowers his gun. Interior hotel corridor continuous. Saito walks down the corridor, followed by a security man. Saito ducks around the corner, moves to a garbage chute, and drops Fisher's wallet into it. He slips into the stairwell as the security man comes abreast of the chute and pauses. Interior hotel corridor continuous. Arthur leads Ariadne to a particular room. 491. Interior room 491 continuous. Arthur leads Ariadne in. Oh my god, I almost called you Adrian. Sorry. He opens the closet, opens the room safe, pulls out 4 bricks of plastic explosive.
So if everything's correct, this room should be directly below 528.
Interior hotel lobby bathroom continuous. Cobb looks reassuringly at Fisher.
What do you remember from before the stream?
Rain. Gunfire. Uncle Peter. Jesus, we've been kidnapped.
Where are they holding you?
They had us in the back of a van.
Your body's bouncing around in the back of a van right now. That explains the gravity shifts.
It was with a safe... Christ, why is it so hard to remember?
It's like trying to remember a dream after you've woken up. It takes years of practice to do it easily. So you and Browning have been pulled into the stream so they can steal something from your mind. What?
They wanted a combination to a safe. They demanded the first numbers to pop into my head.
That's them extracting a locator.
A locator?
A number from your own subconscious. It can be used any number of ways. This is a hotel. Room numbers. What was the number you gave them?
5 to something. It was a long number. 528. 528 for something.
Well, we know where to start. Before.
Interior for room 491 continuous. Arthur hangs up the phone. He is standing on a chair, attaching the explosives to the ceiling.
Oh, do you need a timer?
No, I have to judge it myself. Once you're all asleep up in room 528, I'll wait till Yusuf starts his kick.
How will you know?
His music warns me it's coming. Then the van hitting the barrier of the bridge should be unmistakable. That's when I blow the floor out from underneath us and we get a nice synchronized kick. Too soon and we won't get pulled out. Too late and I won't be able to drop us.
Why not?
Well, the van will be in free fall. I can't drop us with no gravity.
Arthur finishes setting the charges. Interior hotel lobby continuous. Saito moves through the lobby. Browning is coming in the other direction. Saito assumes him to be Ames.
See, you've changed.
I'm sorry?
Ames comes up behind Browning, catching Saito's eye.
I mistook you for a friend.
Good-looking fellow, I'm sure.
Browning moves off. Saito approaches Ames.
That's Fisher's projection of Browning. We'll keep an eye on how he behaves.
Why?
Well, how he acts will tell us if Fisher's starting to suspect his motives the way we want him to.
Interior hotel corridor, 5th floor. Moments later, Cobb leads Fisher around a corner. Arthur and Ariadne are waiting in the corridor.
It worked for me.
110, by the way, is the page. Fisher starts looking at room numbers, stops at 528. Cobb draws his gun, steps back from the door, and kicks it open. Interior room 528 continuous. Cobb jumps into the room, gun up. The room is empty. Arthur and Ariadne search the room. Saito and Ames arrive. Ames shuts the door. Arthur finds something. Arthur?
Sorry, Mr. Charles.
Arthur holds up a mechanism case. Cobb shows it to Fisher.
You know what this is?
Fisher's eyes roam over the dials and plungers.
I think so, but I don't understand.
They're going to put you under.
I'm already under.
Under again.
A dream within a dream?
Arthur is at the door. Someone is there. A key goes into the lock. The door starts to open. Arthur reaches over and grabs the person entering, throws them to the floor, puts his gun in their face. It is Browning. Fisher stares, disbelieving at his own godfather.
Up here, what's going on?
Cobb pulls the key from Browning's hand. Room 528.
You said you were kidnapped together?
Not exactly. They already had him. They'd been torturing him.
You saw them torture him?
Fisher shakes his head, looks at Browning, thinking.
You...
Damn it, Travis.
The kidnappers are working for you?
No, Robert.
You're trying to get that safe open to get the alternate will.
Browning looks up at Fisher.
Fisher Morrow's been my entire life. I can't let you destroy it.
I'm not going to throw away my inheritance. Why would I?
I couldn't take the chance of you rising to your father's final taunt.
What taunt?
That will. I'm sorry, Robert, but it's his final insult. A challenge to build something for yourself. He's telling you that you aren't worthy of his achievements.
Fisher takes this in, devastated.
That he was disappointed?
I'm so sorry, but he was wrong. You'll make his company even greater than he ever could.
Your godfather's lying, Robert.
Fisher turns to Cobb.
How do you know?
It's what I do. He's hiding something.
Yeah, and you know what? Fisher's hiding something too. His face. Get on camera, Travis. Cobb looks at Browning. Get off your phone.
Let's find out what.
Cobb nods at Arthur, who starts unpacking the mechanism. Browning watches, silent.
Let's do to him what he is going to do to you.
Cobb rolls up his sleeve, nods at Fisher to do the same.
We'll penetrate his subconscious and find out what he doesn't want you to know.
Fisher looks Cobb in the eye, decides, rolls up his sleeve, offering his bare arm. The whole team runs tubes to each other. Arthur injects Fisher, whose head slumps. Arthur?
He's out.
Wait, Cobb, I'm lost. Whose subconscious are we going into?
Fisher's. I told him it was Browning, so he'd come with us as part of our team.
He's going to help us break into our own subconscious.
That's the idea. The thing that is his security, his Brownings, and fight them to learn the truth about his father.
Arthur hits buttons on the mechanism. The team goes out one by one. Cobb is last.
Fisher's subconscious is going to run you down hard.
I'll lead them on a merry chase.
Be back in time for the kick.
I'm on it.
Cobb is no longer listening. He stares at the net curtains, billowing like those in Mal's suite. A glimpse of someone, Mal, as the screen goes white, and we hear exterior snow-covered mountains day close on Cobb's face, staring. Fixed.
Cobb? Cobb.
Ariadne is beside him. They stand on a cliff, dressed in white snowsuits, carrying white painted weapons like WW2 commandos. Cobb checks his sniper rifle, examines their objective, a massive fortified medical facility a mile below.
What's down there?
Hopefully the truth we want Fisher to learn.
I meant what's down there for you.
Cobb turns to her. Ames, Saito, and Fisher arrive, skiing down from the hill above. Cobb pulls Ames out of Fisher's earshot.
You're the dreamer. I need to draw the security away from the complex.
And who guides Fisher in? You?
If I know the route, it could be compromised.
Ames looks at Cobb, uneasy. Ariadne comes over.
I designed the place.
No, you're with me.
I could do it.
Oh my god, jeez. They turn to Saito. Saito shrugs at Ames. Ames smiles.
Ames, brief Saito on the route into the complex. What we're looking for is going to be in the most heavily fortified section, that North Tower.
I know, I have a line. Okay. Cobb moves to Fisher. Saito coughs, spits. Ruh-roh. Ames sees some blood on the snow, looks at Saito.
Mr. Fisher, you're going in with Mr. Saito.
You're not coming in?
You have to do this on your own. You have to get in there, break into your godfather's mind, and find out the truth about your thought.
Cobb taps Fisher's radio mic.
Keep this live at all times. I'll be listening and covering you. The windows on the upper floors are big enough that I can cover you from that south tower.
Cobb slips into his keys, shoulders his rifle. Cut 2, interior room 528, night. Arthur checks the mechanism. He hears low booms like thunder. He checks his watch. The second hand crawls forwards. With a last look at the sleepers, he heads out into the corridor. Interior exterior van on rainy downtown streets day. A gunshot slams into the van as Yusuf drives. He glances back to see a motorcycle pulling up behind him. The rear passenger firing a shotgun. The bike pulls alongside Yusuf's window. As the passenger reloads, Yusuf yanks the wheel towards the bike, bringing the shotgun barrel into the cab so he can grab it, spin the wheel back, pulling the passenger from the back of the bike. Yusuf turns a corner heading into a disused market. Interior hotel corridor continuous. Arthur walks through towards the elevator. It opens. A security man emerges, heading right for him. Arthur takes a turn, speeding up. The booms are louder, and we cut to interior exterior van on a rainy downtown street. Day. The bike crosses behind the van, catching up again as the driver pulls a handgun and starts blasting. Up ahead, an SUV sits in a side road, lining up to head off the van. The security man driving the SUV guns it as the bike creeps up from the other side of the van. Yusuf hits the brakes, forcing the bike out onto the path of the SUV, tossing the rider like a rag doll. Bye, Felicia. Heading out of the market, the van races across a freeway on ramp. Approaching the bridge, an SUV smashes into the van side, forcing it up against a crash barrier. The van starts to slowly tilt over the barrier as SUV pushes. Cut 2, interior hotel corridor night. As Arthur hurries down the corridor starts to tilt, and Arthur is forced to run up onto the wall. Come on, Fred Astaire. He rounds a corner, straight into another security man. Arthur headbutts him, and they struggle. As they struggle, the corridor spins around, throwing them up onto the walls. The ceiling, as wall becomes floor, they drop through a door into interior hotel room continuous. The fight continues all over the spinning room, and we cut to interior exterior van on rainy off-ramp near bridge day. Sleeping Arthur bounces around as the van tilts, scraping along the barrier. The van clears the end of the barrier and rolls down the embankment, and we cut to interior hotel room night. Arthur and the security man drop to the floor, Arthur on top. Arthur gets up, heads to the stairwell. Interior exterior van on rainy streets near bridge day. The van settles with a thump. Yusuf breathes hard, then smiles as he realizes he's in one piece. A ringing bell up ahead makes him look to the bridge, where the barriers are starting to come down. Yusuf checks his watch.
Bugger.
Yusuf hits the gas, heading for the bridge. An SUV lines up behind them, trying to catch up before the van crosses the barrier onto the bridge. The van just makes it. The SUV behind rips its rear axle off, scraping to a halt on the rising section. The security man inside starts firing on the van. Interior hotel stairwell continuous. Arthur races down the steps, opens the door to the 4th floor, spots security men outside room 491.
Hey!
They turn, he darts back into the stairwell, races down the stairs. The security men follow, they start shooting, and we cut to exterior snow-covered mountains day. Ames skis down within sight of the hospital complex. He reaches into his pack and lets off a flare. Exterior hospital complex continuous. Security men on the ramparts spot the flare and send patrols out on skis and snowmobiles to investigate. Exterior snow-covered mountains continuous. Ames watches them close in, then launches himself down the mountain, streaking across the icy slope, and we cut to interior-exterior van on rainy rising bridge day. Yusuf pulls forward, looking over his shoulder to line up a backwards run at the edge. He ducks as vicious fire from the SUV hammers the vehicle. He looks at his watch, the second hand ticking slowly.
Sod it. I hope you're ready.
He grabs an MP3 player and reaches into the back to place headphones on sleeping Arthur's head. As he does so, he notices Saito's bandage bleeding through. Yusuf hits play Edith Piaf's Non Je ne regrette rien. There we go, pretended. Anyway, starts up and we cut to interior hotel stairwell night. Arthur stops, hearing something. Massive low-end musical tones. He looks up, panic!
No, Yusuf. Too soon.
Shots slam into the stairs around him, and we cut to exterior snow-covered mountains day. Cobb and Ariadne make their way down toward the complex.
Cobb, are you hearing that?
Cobb listens. The wind sounds unusually low. Exterior forest, snow-covered mountains continuous. Ames is hidden at the base of some trees, whispering as a patrol passes beneath his position.
You noticed it 20 minutes ago. At first, I thought it was just wind.
Exterior snow-covered mountains continuous. Cobb is listening intently. The wind changes pitch.
No, it's music. Damn it.
What do we do?
We move fast. Saito, did you copy?
Exterior mountains, the other side of the complex, continuous. Saito and Fisher climb down a cliff face above the complex.
Going as fast as we can.
Exterior snow-covered mountains, continuous. Ariadne looks at Cobb, concerned.
How long do we have?
Uses about 10 seconds from the jump, which gives Arthur about 3 minutes, which gives us about
60 minutes.
the route you gave them. Can they do it under an hour?
I don't think so. They still got to climb down the middle terrace.
They need a new route, a direct route.
The building's designed as a labyrinth.
There must be access routes that can cut through the maze. Ames.
Exterior forest, snow-covered mountains, continuous. Ames cannot answer. He slaloms through the forest. Sub-security in hot pursuit, bullets smashing into the trunks. Exterior snow-covered mountains, continuous. Cobb turns to Ariadne.
Did Ames add any features?
Yes.
What did he add?
Ariadne looks at Cobb.
I shouldn't tell you. If Mal...
There's no time. What did he add?
Utility closets, trapdoors...
What about service features? Did he add any large pipes or...
ducts. He added an air duct system. It doesn't follow the maze. They can use it to go straight from the outer walls to the upper tower.
Explain it to them.
Saito?
Exterior cliff face behind complex, continuous. Saito is using a hammer to tap in a belay.
Go ahead.
And we cut to interior-exterior van on rainy raised bridge day. Yusuf looks at the security man in the SUV, gives him the finger, and hits the gas racing backwards at the barrier. And we cut to interior hotel stairway night. Arthur runs up the stairs, gun in hand, rounds a corner, and impossibly arrives behind the security man, who looks at him, confused, then looks down to realize he is now at the edge of a dangerous drop. Arthur shrugs.
Paradox.
Arthur pushes him over the edge. He falls. Arthur races up to the 4th floor, throws open the door, and we cut to interior-exterior Van on a rainy raised bridge day. In slow motion, the van smashes through the concrete barrier, and we cut to interior hotel corridor night. Arthur is sprinting down the corridor when a tremendous crash sends him flying into the air, and we cut to exterior snow-covered mountains day. A massive rumble prompts Cobb to look across the valley. Exterior forest, snow-covered mountains continuous. Ames shoots out of the trees, then falls to the snow as he sees a great cracking up ahead. The slope is falling away in an avalanche. Exterior cliff face behind complex. Continuous. Saito hears the rumble above them. He looks down. Fisher is below near the bottom of the sheer face.
Look out!
Saito cuts the rope. They fall, hit the icy face, and slide down the slope, clearing the path of the avalanche. And we cut to interior exterior van day in extreme slow motion. The van emerges from the concrete balustrade and starts falling, and we cut to, thank you, interior hotel corridor night. I'll be here all week, literally. Arthur is still flying through the corridor, not landing. Gravity has disappeared. He scrambles for a handhold, grabbing a sconce, and we cut to exterior snow-covered mountains day. Cobb watches the avalanche cloud slide past the complex.
What was that?
The kick.
Cobb, did we miss it?
Yeah, we missed it.
Exterior forest, snow-covered mountains continuous. Ames is lying on the snow.
What the hell do we do now?
Finish the job before the next kick.
What next kick?
Exterior snow-covered mountains continuous. Cobb looks at Ariadne as he talks into the radio.
When the van hits the water, I figure Arthur's got a couple minutes, and we got about 20.
Cobb and Ariadne move towards the base of the complex. Exterior hospital complex, not hotel this time, Jen. That's done for a minute. Continuous. Saito and Fisher run around the base of the building. They find a large exhaust port. Lay a charge on the grill. They blow the charge, climb into the open vent. Interior-exterior van day. In extreme slow motion, the van seems suspended in midair, 10 stories above the river, and we cut to interior hotel corridor night in zero gravity. Arthur pulls himself to the door of 491, opens it. He looks at the charges planted on the ceiling.
How the hell do I drop you?
He pulls the charges from the ceiling, hurrying, and we cut to interior duct system, hospital complex, continuous. Saito and Fisher hurry through the duct system. Saito is falling behind, coughing up blood. Yo, you don't look so good. Exterior upper terrace, hospital complex, continuous. Cobb grabs a security guard from behind, strangling him unconscious. He beckons to Ariadne, covering her as she runs towards him. They enter the base of the south tower. Interior top room, south tower, hospital complex, continuous. A guard is manning the tower. Cobb and Ariadne enter. Cobb shoots the guard and moves to the window.
That's the antechamber outside the strong room.
Cobb looks at the large windows of the antechamber.
What about the strong room? Doesn't it have any windows?
Wouldn't be very strong if it did. Look, if you wanted to design it yourself.
It's fine. But I hope that we like what Fisher finds.
Cobb sets up his sniper rifle. Through the scope, he can see 3 guards on the balcony outside the chamber, 3 more inside. Cobb casually picks them off with his rifle. Ariadne watches through binoculars, appalled.
These projections, they're part of his subconscious?
Yeah.
Are you destroying those parts of his mind?
No, of course not. They're just projections.
Cobb? Something's wrong?
Yeah, I kind of knew he was lying about that. Exterior forest, snow-covered mountains, continuous. Ames is watching the patrols head back towards the complex. Sorry, bro.
They're heading your way like they know something.
Interior top room, south tower, hospital complex, continuous. Cobb hears this. Concerned.
Buy us some time.
On my way.
Exterior forest, snow-covered mountains, continuous. Ames takes off toward the base of the complex, and we cut to interior room 528 night. Arthur floats into the room. The sleepers are floating, loosely connected by their tubes. Arthur looks at them, mind racing. What are you going to do? He pulls Cobb towards Ames, and we cut to interior duct system, hospital complex day. Saito and Fisher approach the grate, covering the exit to the anteroom. Saito slumps to the floor of the duct, pulls out his radio. Fisher looks at him. He is pale, shivering. Fisher takes the radio, whispers into it.
We're here. Are we clear to proceed?
Interior top room, south tower, hospital complex, continuous. Cobb scans the empty room through the scope. It looks clear.
You're clear, but hurry. There's an army headed your way.
Ariadne watches the patrols approaching the complex. Interior duct system, hospital complex continuous. The squelch from the radio is too loud. Fisher grabs it and turns the volume to 0 as he starts to remove the grate. Exterior base at the hospital complex continuous. Ames is setting mines along the lowest wall of the structure. He moves carefully. There is a sheer drop below the wall. Interior top room, South Tower Hospital Complex continuous. Cobb spots something through his scope. Something above the main windows. Glimpse through the side of the skylight. Sorry.
Shit. There's someone else in there.
Cobb prepares to fire Ariadne, grabs radio.
Fisher, stop! It's a trap!
Oh no, but his radio's turned off. Interior duct system, hospital complex continuous. Fisher does not see the flashing light on his radio as he carefully lifts the grate. He motions for Saito to stay. Interior top room, South Tower, hospital complex continuous. Cobb tenses to fire.
Come on, a little lower. A little.
Cobb freezes. It is Maul in his sights. Ariadne puts up her binoculars, spots Maul. Fisher is climbing out of the vent.
Cobb, that's not really her.
Cobb turns to her.
How can you know that?
Interior antechamber continuous. Fisher moves into the antechamber, cautious.
I'm in.
Fisher turns up the volume.
Fisher, look out!
Mal drops gracefully to the floor behind him.
Hello?
Interior top room, South Tower Hospital Complex continuous. Cobb looks at Ariadne.
Cobb, she's just a projection. Fisher, he's real.
Cobb thinks, nods, turns back to the scope. Too late, Mal shoots Fisher. Cobb reflexively pulls the trigger. Mal goes down. Bye. Cobb steps back from the scope, stunned.
Ames, get to the anteroom now.
They run for the door. Interior duct system, hospital complex continuous. Saito starts as he hears the shot. He starts edging forwards, clutching his belly, and we cut to interior room 528 night. The sleepers are floating in a rough stack, topped and tailed. Arthur pulls the bedding from the bed and uses the sheet to bind the sleepers together, and we cut to interior exterior van day in extreme slow motion. The van creeps downwards, still high above the river, and we cut to interior hotel corridor night. Arthur pushes the floating stack of sleepers to the elevator. He hits the button, the doors open, he pushes them in, grabs the charges, climbs through the hatch in the ceiling, and we cut to interior duct system hospital complex day. Ames steps over Saito, who looks up at him with dying eyes. Interior antechamber hospital corridor day. Ames jumps out of the vent to find Cobb and Ariadne standing over the bodies of Fisher and Maul. Ames?
What happened?
Maul killed Fisher.
I won't shoot her.
Ames grabs the defibrillator from the wall and pulls Fisher's jacket open.
It won't do any good.
Ames shocks Fisher's chest.
Even if you could revive his body, his mind's strapped down there. It's over.
Ames listens for a pulse, looks up at Cobb.
So that it then. We failed.
Sorry.
Who doesn't get back to your family?
Ames looks down at Fisher, then over to the double doors.
I wanted to know what was going to happen in there. I think we are this one.
They're still away. We follow Fisher down.
They look at her.
Almost out of time.
Down there, there'll be enough time. We'll find him. As soon as you hear Arthur's music start, you use the defibrillator to revive him. We give him his own early kick from below. Get him in there. Then as the music ends, you blow the hospital, and we all ride the kick back up through the layers.
Ames looks at her, then to Cobb.
Okay. Saito can hold them off while I plant the rest of the charges.
Saito's not going to last, Ames.
We have to try.
Go for it. But I'm taking the kick, whether you're back or not.
Ames pulls the mechanism from his pack, offers it to Ariadne. Cobb watches, silent. Ariadne pulls out the tubes.
Can I trust you to do what's needed? Maul's down there.
And I can find her. She'll have Fisher.
How do you know?
She wants me to come after her. She wants me to back down there with her.
Cobb rolls up his sleeves. Ariadne rolls up her own sleeve. Ames nods. Cobb and Ariadne lie down. Ames hits the button. Water. Bubbles. Drowning. And we are exterior coast limbo day. Ariadne lies in the surf, staring up at a cloudless sky. A tremendous boom prompts her to look around her. Urban buildings piled right down to the water. The buildings are decaying, falling into the ocean like a glacier caving. I'm assuming that's what it's supposed to do. Whatever. Anyway, Cobb wades towards her through the shallow water. Ariadne looks up at the crumbling city around them.
Is this your world?
Was. And this is where she'll be.
And we cut to interior elevator shaft day. Arthur floats on top of the elevator, planting small charges on the emergency brakes and cable. He sets them, grabs the other explosives, then pushes away, shooting them up the shaft. As he hits the detonator, blasting the braking and safety systems of the elevator, we move into slow motion. The fireballs flaming out in graceful licks, and we dissolve to interior antechamber day. Ames races around full speed, getting to defibrillator paddles, laying them by Fisher's body. He runs into the duct, pulls Sato up into a seated position, and hands him a handgun.
Come on, Saito. Need you to cover Fisher while I plant the charges.
Saito nods weakly, tries to hold the gun. Ames moves to the window, pulls his machine gun off, checks its load, ready. He watches the security patrols climb up the outer walls. Ames lays down a hail of covering fire, then heads outside. Exterior hospital complex continuous. Ames races along the upper terrace, dodging fire. Bullets shatter a window behind him, and we move into slow motion. The glass cascading gently, and we dissolve to exterior coast limbo day. Cobb and Ariadne climb out of the waves full speed. They move into the shadow of the tall, crumbling buildings. The streets are eerily deserted. As they move further in, the buildings become newer, different. Ariadne marvels at the extraordinary collection of buildings, every architectural style imaginable, in waves of failed utopias.
You built all this?
We both did.
It's incredible.
We built for years. And when that got stale, we started out the memories.
A child's shout echoes through the deserted canyons, prompting Cobb to look down a side street. A little blonde boy crouched, his back to us. A little blonde girl joins the boy, and as Cobb turns down the street, they run off. Cobb and Ariadne emerge into a peculiar square lined with an eclectic mix of buildings, from apartment blocks to houses.
This is our neighborhood.
From what city?
No. Our neighborhood. That was our first apartment. Then we moved to that building. We got in a small house and we all became pregnant.
You reconstructed them all from memory?
We had time.
Cobb pauses in front of a French country house, staring.
What's that?
The house Maul grew up in.
Will she be in there?
No. Come on.
Cobb leads Ariadne into the entrance of a glass skyscraper. Interior skyscraper lobby limbo continuous. Cobb leads Ariadne across the gleaming lobby to the elevators.
We both wanted a house. We both loved skyscrapers. In the real world, we had to choose. Not here.
Interior skyscraper elevator limbo continuous. Cobb pulls out his handgun and a Ziploc bag full of bullets.
How do we send Fisher back?
We need some kind of kick.
What?
I'll improvise.
Cobb cocks his weapon and the elevator stops. The doors open. Ariadne moves to the exit. Cobb stops her.
There's something you have to understand about me. About Inception. You see, my idea is like a virus.
Cobb leads her out of the lift. Interior penthouse limbo continuous. Cobb and Ariadne step off the lift and into the incongruous interior of a craftsman house. They cautiously move down the corridor towards the back of the house.
Resilient. Highly contagious. An idea can grow. The smallest seed of an idea can grow to define or destroy a evil world.
Cobb is staring into the kitchen. Maul is sitting at the table back to them, staring out at the porch, the towers of limbo stretching off behind it. Molly Maul.
I'm here. The smallest idea, such as your world is not real.
Cobb hands Ariadne his gun and moves towards Maul.
A simple little thought that changes everything.
Ariadne watches as Cobb sits down beside Maul, and we cut to interior elevator shaft night. Arthur flies back down to the shaft to the top of the elevator, squeezes past the car to the bottom, and starts to set the main charges across the bottom of the car, and we cut to interior penthouse limbo day. Cobb touches Maul's arm. She turns, angry. It is only now that we see she's holding a carving knife. Maul looks at Ariadne.
So certain of your world, if that's real. Do you think he is? Or do you think he's as lost as us?
I know it's real.
What are distinguishing characteristics of a dream? Mutable laws of physics tells that to the quantum physicist. The appearance of the dead? What about heaven and hell? Persecution of the dream of the creator, the Messiah? They crucified the Christ, didn't they?
I know what's real.
No creeping doubts? Not a feeling persecuted on? Chased around the globe by anonymous corporations and police forces. The way the projections persecute the dreamer.
Maul puts her hand on his face, pitying.
Admit it, Don. You don't believe in one reality anymore. So choose. Choose your reality like I did. Choose to be here. Choose me.
I've chosen Maul, our children. I have to get back to them because you left them. You left us.
You're wrong, Don. You're confused. Children are here.
A child's shout draws Cobb. James crouches on the porch, back to us. Philippa joins him, also turned away. Cobb watches, moved. Maul leans in close.
And you'd like to see their faces again, wouldn't you, Don?
Our real children are waiting for me up above.
And we cut to interior elevator night. Arthur scrambles to arrange the sleepers on the floor of the car. As his hand comes away from Saito, he sees blood on it. He looks at Saito's belly. The blood is coming through his shirt. Arthur sticks headphones on sleeping Ames, and we cut to interior hospital fortress day. Ames throws a grenade, blowing up the security forces trying to ascend the terrace. He ducks to the ground to avoid heavy fire, starts unpacking the charges and setting them along the base of the terrace. Interior duct system, hospital complex, continuous. Saito looks up as he hears a security guard climbing through the duct. He raises his gun, trembling with weakness, and we cut to interior kitchen penthouse limbo day. Maul laughs at Cobb.
Up above. Listen to yourself. You judged me for believing the very same thing.
Maul points at the children.
These are our children. Watch. Hey, James! Philippa!
The children start to turn to us, but Cobb closes his eyes.
They're not real, Maul. Our real children are waiting for us.
The children run off. Cobb opens his eyes.
You keep telling yourself that, but you don't believe it.
I know it.
What if you're wrong? What if I'm what's real?
Cobb is silent.
You keep telling yourself what you know. What do you believe? What do you feel?
Cobb looks at Maul, struggling.
Guilt. I feel guilt, and however confused I might get, however lost I might seem, it's always there, telling me something, reminding me of the truth.
What truth?
That you were wrong to doubt our world. That the idea that drove you to question reality was a lie.
How could you know it was a lie?
Because it was my lie.
Because you planted the idea in my mind.
Because I performed Inception on my own wife, then reaped the bitter rewards.
Why?
We'd become lost in here, living in a world of infinite possibilities, a world where we were gods. I realized we needed to escape, but she locked away her knowledge of the unreality of this world.
Insert cut. Maul opens the doll's house, takes the spinning top, lies it down in the safe, locks it away.
I couldn't make Maul understand that we needed to break free, to die. So I started to search our world.
Cobb turns to Maul, but keeps talking to Ariadne. Insert cut. Cobb wanders the streets of Limbo.
Searching for the right place in her mind.
Insert cut. Cobb stops outside the Victorian house, Maul's childhood home, looking up at it. He heads inside.
And when I found that place, that secret place where she had shut away her knowledge years before, I broke it open.
Insert cut. Cobb looks around Maul's childhood bedroom. comes to the doll's house.
I broke into the deepest recess of her mind to give her the simplest little idea.
Insert cut. Cobb throws open the safe door. Sitting on the shelf of the safe is a spinning top on its side.
A truth that she had once known but had chosen to forget.
Insert cut. Cobb picks up the totem. He spins it in the safe. It spins and it spins without end. Cobb closes the door of the safe.
That her world was not real.
Insert cut. Cobb and Maul arrive at the train tracks cutting through wasteland.
The death was a necessary escape.
They lie on the tracks looking into each other's eyes. Maul is crying. Cobb takes her hand, reassuring. He starts to speak.
You're waiting for a train that will take you far away. You know where you hope this train will take you, but you can't know for sure. Yet it doesn't matter.
Maul looks at him across the railroad tracks, replies.
Because you'll be together.
The train comes, obliterating the lovers. Back in the present, Cobb looks into Maul's eyes. She is crying.
I never thought that the idea I'd planted would grow in her mind like a cancer. And even after we woke.
Insert cut. Cobb looks around the hotel suite, confused. He moves to the curtains. Maul is on the ledge opposite.
You can believe that your world was not.
Crying, Maul nods.
But death was only an escape.
Insert cut. Maul plunges to her death.
You killed me.
Cobb looks at Maul, whispers.
I was trying to save you. I'm sorry.
Maul comes close to Cobb, looks him over.
You infected my mind. You betrayed me. But you can make amends. You can still keep your promise. We can still be together right here. In our world, the world we built together.
Cut 2, interior elevator night. Arthur hits play on his music player. Edith Piaf starts to ring out. Arthur checks his detonator and we cut 2. Interior antechamber day. Eames races back in. In the relative quiet, he notices massive low E musical tones. He drops his gun and goes to Fisher's side. Interior duct system. Hospital complex continuous. Saito musters all of his remaining strength as the guard emerges. Saito fires, dropping the guard, then collapses. The gun clattering to the duct floor. Saito is dead. Interior antechamber continuous. Ames powers up the defibrillator. He puts the paddles on Fisher's chest, and then pow! He shocks him, and we cut to interior penthouse limbo day. Lightning crackles across the sky. Ariadne sees it.
We need Fisher.
Can't have him.
Cobb stares at Maul, mesmerized.
If I stay, you take him back.
Cobb, what are you saying?
Fisher's on the porch.
Cobb, you can't do this.
Go check he's alive, Ariadne.
Ariadne moves onto the porch high above the metropolis, and we cut to interior elevator night. Arthur nods his head in time with the music, counting down, holding the detonator. He starts bracing himself, and we cut to interior antechamber day. Ames recharges a defibrillator, shocks Fisher again, and we cut to exterior porch penthouse limbo day. Ariadne looks up at as a large bolt of lightning rips across the sky. She looks down to see Fisher, bound and bloody, lying below the rail.
He's here, and it's time, but you have to come with us.
Another massive lightning strike flickers across the sky.
Cobb, I'm not going to let you lose yourself in here. You have to get back to your children.
Send Fisher. I have to stay.
You can't stay here to be with her.
Cobb turns from Maul, looks at Ariadne.
I'm not. Saito's dead by now. That means he's here. I have to stay here and find him.
Ariadne removes Fisher's gag, pulls him up onto the rail. Cobb looks back at Maul.
I can't stay here to be with her because she's not real.
Maul looks at Cobb, furious.
Not real. And the only thing you do believe in anymore. Here. Doesn't this feel real, Dom?
She stabs him in the chest. Cobb wheezes, gasping, looking at Maul.
I wish you were, but I couldn't make you real. I'm not capable of imagining you in all of your complexity and perfection as you really were. You're the best I could do. And you're not real.
Maul pulls the knife and starts to move again.
No!
A shot rings out. Maul grabs her shoulder. Cobb turns to Ariadne, who is pointing Cobb's gun.
You doing?
Improvising.
She kicks Fisher off the roof, aims again at Maul. Fisher drops as the sky lights up with electricity. Fisher screams, then gasps, no longer falling, and we are interior antechamber day. Ames pulls the defibrillator from Fisher's chest as he coughs awake.
Get in there, quick!
Fisher looks up at the double doors, staggers to his feet. Fisher pushes open the doors to the strong room. Interior strong room continuous. Fisher walks into the little silent white room. At one end of the room is a bed. A figure lies in the bed. His father. Breathing with tremendous difficulty. Dying. And we cut to exterior penthouse limbo day. Ariadne takes an aim at Maul.
No!
Cobb holds Ariadne's gaze. She lowers the gun. And we cut to Ames grabs the detonator, then moves to the door of the strong room. Cut to interior elevator hotel night. Arthur hits the detonator. Interior elevator shaft continuous. The charges on the bottom of the elevator explode, and we move into extreme slow motion as the flames balloon. Cut to interior strong room continuous. A rumble builds as Fisher approaches the bed, overcome with emotion. His father sees him. Starts trying to speak. Fisher leans in.
Was this?
I know, Dad. You were disappointed that I wouldn't be you.
The dying man shakes his head with surprising energy.
I was disappointed that you tried.
That's not your line,
I
Travis.
was disappointed.
Oh, but...
Don't fucking cut me off again. I'll kill you instead. I was disappointed that you tried and cut off my line.
See what I mean?
I died disappointed in you, Travis.
Fisher hears this, and we cut to interior elevator shaft night. My meds have kicked in fully right now. It's about to get weird. The elevator car is rocketed along a track by the explosion. Interior elevator continuous. Arthur is smashed against the floor of the car next to the sleepers, who shudder with the force of acceleration. And we cut to interior antechamber day. Ames watches Fisher, not washing Fisher.
Come on.
Maybe he is washing Fisher. Anyway, I don't know. Interior strong room day. Sorry, Eric. The father collapses back onto the pillow.
Watch off the hate.
Shut up, Travis.
Shut up, Travis.
Fisher starts to weep. His father reaches out with a trembling hand, but when Fisher tries to hold it, he shakes his son's hand away. Whatever, slaps would have worked too. Anyway, whatever. I'm sorry. He's reaching for the safe next to his bed. His fingers fumble at the keypad. He can't open it. His son pushes 528491 into the keypad, opens it. Inside the safe is a will, and beside it is a homemade pinwheel, clearly made by a child, by Fisher. He takes it out, marveling at it. He turns to his father, but his father is dead. Ames, watching from the door, hits the detonator. Exterior hospital complex continuous. A line of explosions rip along the lower wall. The entire building starts to slide down the mountain. You'll be coming down a mountain. Anyway, I'm sorry. Exterior penthouse limbo day. A fierce wind starts howling through the house as the sky outside darkens. Cobb shields Maul against the blast. Looks up at Ariadne, who holds the railing, fighting the wind. Why didn't you put out another arm to help her? Anyway.
That's the kick. You have to go.
You're coming.
No, I'm not. I'm staying here to fight Saito and to say goodbye.
Ariadne loosens her grip on the railing.
Don't lose yourself. Find Saito and bring him back.
I will.
Ariadne lets the wind pull her off the edge, falling, and we interior antechamber continuous. Told you it was going to get weird. Ariadne drops as the floor collapses. Her eyes snap open. Exterior penthouse limbo day. Cobb holds Maul in his arms. The wind dies.
We'd be together forever. You promised me.
I know, but we can't. I'm sorry.
Remember when you asked me to marry you? You said you dreamt that we'd grow old together.
And we did.
Maul looks at Cobb, thinking. Remembering. Insert cut. Two elderly people, Maul and Cobb, walk through limbo across a wasteland. Two elderly hands clutch each other as they lie down on the railroad track.
I miss you more than I can bear. But we had our time together. And now I have to let go.
She nods weakly. Cobb holds Maul as her eyes close, dying, and we, interior strong room, continuous. Fisher and his father's body drop away. Interior elevator night. Ariadne drops inside the rocketing elevator, and as it slams into the top of the shaft, Ariadne smashes into interior exterior van into river day, the water, the van crunching with the impact, water crashing through the broken windows, flooding the interior. Fisher's eyes open, panicking. He unbuckles himself, pushes out of the broken window, stops, going back to unbuckle Browning and drag him out. Exterior river continuous. Fisher breaks the surface with Browning, who coughs and gasps. He starts pulling for the near bank, struggling through the rain-impacted water. Interior van, underwater continuous. Ariadne, Arthur, and Yusuf wait calmly underwater. They are sharing two regulators pulled from beneath the front seat. Arthur turns to Saito. There is blood in the water around Saito's belly. His eyes are lifeless. Arthur feels for a pulse, turns to Cobb, whose eyes are lifeless. Ariadne grabs Arthur's elbow, pulling him away. Exterior riverbank, moments later. Fisher turns, Browning aims over. They lie there, exhausted.
I'm sorry, Robert.
Fisher stares at the rain on the water.
Will means that Dad wanted me to be my own man, not live for him. And I'm going to, Uncle Peter.
Browning nods, wipes the rain from his face. In the puddle beside them, the reflection is not Browning, but Ames. Exterior underneath bridge in the rain. Moments later, Arthur sits on the riverbank, breathing heavily.
What happened?
Cobb stayed.
With Maul?
No, to find Saito.
Arthur looks out at the water below the bridge.
He'll be lost.
No, he'll be all right.
And we cut to exterior dawn, crashing surf. The waves toss a bearded man onto wet sand. As the Japanese security guard turns him onto his back, we realize that this is Cobb. Older, weary, traveled. Interior dining room, castle day. Cobb wolfs his food. The elderly Japanese man, Saito, 90 years old and still looking fabulous, watches him.
So have you come to kill me?
Cobb does not look up.
We're waiting for someone to come for me.
Someone from your half-remembered dream.
Saito peers at Cobb.
Cobb? It's not possible. He and I were young men together. I'm an old man.
Filled with regret.
Saito remembers, nods.
Waiting to die alone, yes.
Cobb is staring at something on the table.
I came back for you. I came to remind you of what you once knew.
Cobb gestures at the table. Saito follows his gaze down to the polished surface of the table.
That this world is not real.
The top is still spinning perfectly as if it will never topple. Saito looks at the top, then back to Cobb.
Came to convince me to honor our arrangement?
Yes. And to take a look at the fate.
As Saito-san listens to Cobb, he looks at the gun on the table between them.
Come back and we'll be young men together again.
The elderly Saito looks at Cobb, nods, and we cut to interior first class cabin, 747 day. Ariadne watches Cobb. His eyes are closed. Hot towel, sir? His eyes flicker over. He takes the towel with a nod. Ariadne smiles, relieved. We'll be landing in Los Angeles in about 20 minutes. Do you need immigration forms? Cobb nods, takes a landing card, looks around the cabin. Saito is watching him, serious, haunted. Holding Cobb's gaze, Saito picks up the phone and dials. Cobb nods, thanks. Interior arrivals, LAX later. Cobb steps forward to the immigration official, hands him his passport. Nervous, the official takes a beat, looks Cobb up and down, then whoomp! The passport is stamped. As Cobb takes it back, he spots Ariadne at the next counter. She nods at him. He nods back, then moves off. As Cobb passes through the baggage claim, he exchanges subtle greetings with Ames and Yusuf. Arthur smiles broadly at Cobb. Cobb brushes past Fisher, who glances back at him as if thinking, maybe he should know him. then moves on. As Cobb emerges into the crowded arrivals hall, he spots Professor Miles waving at him. Interior kitchen, Cobb and Miles' house, day. There we go. Cobb enters with Miles, drops his bags, moves to the table, looking out at the overgrown garden. He reaches into his pocket, takes out his pewter spinning top, lowers it to the table, and spins it. A child's shout makes him look up. Through the window, James and Philippa have run into view, playing, their faces turned away, and Cobb stares at the back of his children's heads. Miles moves to the window and knocks on the glass. James and Philippa turn, see their dad. He steps to the window, watching their bright faces as shining as they run towards him. Hold on, Dad, I'm almost done. Behind him on the table, the spinning top is still spinning, and we fade out. Credits. The end.
Woo! Yes. Amazing.
Yay.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to my casting artists. We got through this long script, and yeah, see you guys all at the next reading. Thanks you all again for watching.